Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Mr.
Hey,
Ewok, how do, sir?
Oh, good. It all worked out. Good.
Nice.
So much easier with the headset than leaning over my phone and trying to hope you hear me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're coming in loud and clear.
Nice.
So we just jumped in and we were just chatting a little bit about that last territory war and how crazy it was, man.
It was. I didn't know. I didn't really think. I looked at it, was like, we're gonna win this.
Yeah,
Like I just expected them to start trouncing through our areas.
yeah.
Was it cruise? It was a cruise guy.
I mean, to some extent, I think that both of us experienced the whole playing against member availability thing that, obviously the type of defense when you go heavy in the front, that's what you're pretty much doing. And they probably experienced it just like we did, and you never know who was available when it got down to the point where Crew's team was the only one left. You could have some schlub that just I'm gonna throw my Jedi's who are all G7 and see if I can get rid of one tune, and just don't understand that this team is so powerful. And no, you're not gonna do that,
and,
especially
and then you start off with, and then you leave it with turn meter. It's like you
yeah,
have to remember that.
it's disgusting.
It's like,
I saw
especially. Go ahead.
one guy hit him 7 times in a row.
Yeah,
Did he?
the guy at the end was just
Yeah,
constantly smacking and smacking and smacking. I mean, they eventually punched through, but uh,
it was
it's
it was
like,
great to watch. It really
oh yeah,
was.
it was fun. I
Yep.
was at work. I really shouldn't have been watching it, but it was just so. I, I mean, it's something that really has to be said to everyone and understand that, like, especially teams like Ewoks and Resistance, you don't want to fail
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Especially now, even the Scion ones. Like, what happens if you sit there and you fight and you leave everyone up there and you left Nihilus with an Annihilate
Yep,
ready to go?
yep.
It's like, what are you gonna do? You come in there, Annihilus has got turn meter, and the first thing that happens is one of your guys is offed.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, you gotta treat this like I mean, you really have to treat this differently than you do the arena or even Galactic War. It's
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, one kind of main thing that I really was curious about with these new changes was how important is the whole, winning on the first attack and keeping, winning with 5 characters all there and surviving and whatnot. And with this type of battle, the way that, this went, it seemed like it didn't matter at all. It was just,
I don't Yeah, I don't think it mattered, but I think in the end, I was looking at the amount of points we were behind when we were still both fighting for that initial area. For 1B, we were still both sitting there gunning at it. I was looking at how many attacks they did and how many attacks we did, and I was like, okay, I think we're ahead of them
yeah,
because I think we were doing better on the attacks than they were.
yeah.
Um, which of course it's twofold. It's one, yeah, we're getting more points, but also we have more teams than available. So I think it's actually important now to think about that.
Well, it is for sure, but it's only going to be important when it's a close match. You know what I mean? It like once you kind of get the feel, you're halfway through or further, and you get the feel for like, okay, whatever's going on their side, they are really having trouble with say our 1B or whatever, or even once they got to 2B, and we were already several territories beyond. I mean, for instance, that last territory seemed to me like it don't matter. If you have to attack 18 times to finish the last team, that's going to get you, what is it, 1100 points. That's way more important than the possible 15 you might lose from having some amazing squad to get a one attack win.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it seems like it's important at the beginning. Try to make sure we're using our best squads against their best squads and whatnot. Um, but then beyond that, hopefully once you start to get into the softer areas that have less powerful squads that they've set, that's just gonna happen. You're gonna be easier for the average member that's not, still put a bunch on defense and still has some really good stuff on offense for them to see something like, I'm pretty sure I can do that. So the worst is at the beginning when it's those big teams and it's like, it really turns into a nightmare when you leave them with turn meter and yada yada yada. So,
Yeah, wherever everyone's sitting there trying to fight to take these guys out, and they're hoping they could do it. And sometimes we make mistakes. It really is. It's.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember I brought my bounty hunter team in, and oh my god, did they just died.
Yep.
I mean, they took out 1.5 people, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna. I said, okay, I'm not gonna leave someone with this, and then I
Yeah.
retreated, and then realized, oh,
It gave a
retreating is
battle.
bad.
Well, I mean, here's the thing though. Once that only it basically you should only consider, is it a good idea to retreat or not when it's battle number 1 is the most important. Battle number 2, still important possibly, but not as important. Once it's beyond that, or you're starting, like you see a team, they've already been battled twice, and now you go in, you should not retreat. If you did anything, if you took out a tune or whatever, absolutely not retreat, because you lose all possibility of gaining the bonuses once they've been battled twice, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's definitely only like, when the first attack is when you should really think like, okay, I didn't do very much to this, and this monster team has turn meter now. That's when it should consider. Otherwise, beyond that, even battle number 2, if you're going to be adding that battle, having been in there, say the squad has only been battled once already, and when you go in, you're adding battle number 2 no matter what. Once you've gone in, you've added battle number 2. All bonuses are gone except for whoever ends up actually defeating the squad. If they happen to say there's 1 tune left or there's 4 tunes left, if they bring in a team where they can beat what's left with all 5 members, they can still get those 5 bonus points, obviously. But all other bonuses are out the window as soon as you're going into battle number 2. So at that point, it's not really worth retreating if you took out 1 tune. Do you agree? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think I know what you're saying.
It's weird. It's gonna take some getting used to, but like I said, like you said, once you've gone in, to retreat does not, reverse the fact that you added another battle. So once the number 2 is sitting there, there are no more bonuses to be had other than how many tunes can you keep alive when you beat the team. So it's like, once you get to battle number 2, you go into battle number 3, you take out 1 tune. Okay, go into battle number 4, take out 1 tune. This is not good. We don't want this to be happening, and we don't want to be wasting tunes, but you are not depleting the number of possible points. It could still get to the point where if we battle to the point where there's 1 tune left on their defensive squad, and then somebody brings in, I did it once in this one actually. I did a battle, underestimated it was at the end, so I was just, there was 4 teams left or 5 teams left or something. I took in a squad. I was able to take out 3 tunes. I was like, okay, I'm keeping this because I know that I have a couple more tunes that can take these last 2 out. I did, and I brought in a 3-man squad, kept them all alive, and got all 5 of the bonus points or number of tunes that are still alive when you get the win. So it's like you're doing beyond battle number 2, there are no other bonuses to get, is all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Once you see 2 battles there, it's a free for all. Go ahead and do whatever, as long as you don't leave it worse than you came.
Yeah.
At that point in time, it's still a. I
That
saw that. Yeah, I saw that one person attacking. They attacked Crew's area, and they attacked, and then Scion had half his protection back,
yeah.
and I'm going, you didn't help your cause. That was you should have retreated out of that if you could have done so.
Right.
Because essentially, what probably ended up happening is they had 1 or 2 guys left, and Scion used his 3rd special to gain all the protection back before the person could retreat.
Right.
I mean, if I was doing that, I'd probably have I probably would have force quit the game real quick,
Yeah. Oh, if you're gonna yeah.
taken the loss and hoped that it didn't save it that way, and I just considered it a retreat,
You
which I haven't tried.
You can do that. I did it once in the last territory war. Yeah, it wasn't in this one, it was in the last one, and we experienced this a few territory wars ago. Someone was like, hey, is it showing that I'm in battle for anyone else while I'm obviously not in battle, because I'm sitting here looking at the territory, seeing myself in battle. That happens if you force quit, and it does work as the same as a forfeit or retreat or whatever. I did it in the last territory war. Experienced the same thing. Force quit the game, started it back up, went into the territory. There's me in battle. It's
But you
just
had to wait. So you just had to wait for the timer to end inside there, and it became a timeout, or did
I guess so. Yeah.
the question is how did the people end up? Like when you stopped battling, or
You know what? I mean, I didn't think about the fact that it could have had something to do with the timer, but in that particular instance, it looked like I hadn't fought them basically. I had done
okay,
some
well,
damage or whatever, but not very much at all. It was a total mistake kind of thing, and I could tell that it basically did not count the attack.
which
In
is good. That's what you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. In this new system, it would count it as a battle, I'm sure, but
Right, but you're still it's the kind of thing like you go in, it was like that of like that Vicarian squad I warned someone about, and obviously someone took it out in one go, and bravo to whoever it was that took that
seriously.
squad out. Because I was looking at that what was it, the resistance squad and saying, you're gonna have to go faster than 246 or else no, it was the General Kenobi squad, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it going, wow, that looks like a good resistance one. And I said, no, R2 goes fast, and I forgot who the other person was that went fast. And I said, "No, you're gonna get." Oh no, it was like R2 and Rex or something. That's what it was. It was R2 and Rex, I think. And I'm like, and they both go 246. So unless your resistance team goes faster than that, the first thing that's going to happen is Rex is going to pop his tenacity buff,
Yep.
and
Done.
you're done because now your resistance trying to get through a tenacity buff team.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's so. But that was the kind of thing. Like if you went in there and suddenly they just started decimating you. Yeah, you force quick as quickly as possible once you realize there's nothing salvageable.
Yeah, I mean the
And
only reason to force quit is if it's like, okay, they are in a ping 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 ping, they're just, gaining turn meter and going, like I said, a resistance team, that's when it's going to actually probably happen. Is they'll just keep going and going and going. You're never going to get another turn in order to get the chance to forfeit. Definitely, that's when you would force quit. Otherwise, you can just wait till your next turn. If it's a normal squad that's not going to, have some kind of mechanic where you're not going to get to go again, it's probably easier, quicker, or whatever to just wait for your next turn and forfeit. But to just go back to the point we were talking about, we're trying to decide when is it good to retreat and when is it not, necessary. It's definitely only, like I said, if you take out a tune, you take out 2 tunes, then it's worth keeping the battle if you're already past 2 battles on that squad. But then, like you said, if you go in and you leave them in better shape than they were, or you didn't do any damage, and now they've just got turn meter and possibly more moves, back off of cooldown and whatnot, then that's when you definitely want to consider retreating.
yes, it's all a matter. You guys got to play You absolutely have to play the field that you have out over there,
Yeah.
um, and make sure that you can. I'm sorry. I'm kind of. I have to stop playing this raid thing so I can actually. I'm like I've got an hour and a half to get my other 3 attacks in.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it's all about timing that, making sure to time that, to figure out, okay, yeah, this is when I have to retreat, or yeah, I took someone out. And I think really, in the end of the day, if you've taken out one of the enemy forces, you just accept it because you've made it easier. Even if there's less
Yeah.
turn meter, I think you've made it easier.
Yeah.
Uh, Even if it's Ewoks, because I don't think the Elder can res someone who died in the previous encounter.
Yep. Nice.
And so it's kind of like if you can kill someone off like that, go for it.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Ewoks, you'd be proud of me. They're one of those last 4 or 5 teams that was left. I wish I could remember. It was like a Vader, and there was like a Vader lead for whatever reason that was a G12, and generally like G10, G11, maybe another G12. Empire kind of squad, not the usual thing, but like Tarkin was there, Shore Trooper, Death Trooper. I brought in Ewoks and was able to beat them, man. It was awesome. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. My Ewoks are like G10, G11 at best. No Zetas, no nothing.
And yet there you were.
Yep. Super bad, man. I was like, well, it's at the end here, and we need to do anything we can to try to get the points for this last territory. I'm going for it. And man, I was so geeked that it actually worked.
Ah,
So, looking at the way we set up our defense, which personally I think is awesome as hell. It seems, at least with our range and the type of guilds that we're getting matched up with, even when it seemed, I mean, this was a more powerful guild than us, I think. Bigger whales, like more 2.0 plus or 2 mil plus players, and it seems to me like we handed it to them pretty good, you know. So I think we've proven, and I personally think we have 12 wins. I can't understand how I would have a win beyond you guys. It seems to me more like there was some kind of glitch that made one of them not count for most members or some members or whatever. I don't know how that could possibly be that I would get an extra win for no reason. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Um,
Weird. But
it is
anyway,
weird.
12 wins, if that is accurate, then that means we have 12 wins, 1 tie, and 1 loss. And I think that that's kind of proving that we have a pretty damn good strategy set up. You know? So it's riding the line, obviously, of having enough offense left, and it would be amazing to be able to choose to go north and get to their ships and whatnot. But it kind of seems to me like to put less in the back. You know, say there was you know, they hadn't attacked our CLS at all, and there weren't members that quite possibly wasted a good bit. Taking out that handful of teams, maybe they would have had enough to get through the southern route, the first 2 territories, you know, much earlier in the raid, and then many more members could have gotten in and attacked the Jedi, you know, Qui-Gon Jinn stuff and the Phoenix and whatnot. They possibly could have done a lot better, you know, if they had just managed a little better and gotten through that bottom to just pretty much mirror what we did. Then it could be important to have more on offense, just you know, so that we have more ability to finish more territories or whatever. But the problem is, as far as I can see, the only thing that we really have that would be great to have on offense that we don't already would be like the primo squads that we put in 4B, in the middle and the back. You know what I mean? How helpful is it going to be to have even all of our droid squads, or some of our droid squads, or all of our Jedi Qui-Gon Jinns, or some of them, you know? Seems to me like it's mainly like the big squads we're putting all the way in the back are obviously the most wasted of any. For them to have done a little better and gotten to the, you know, the Qui-Gons and stuff and the Phoenix earlier, they could have gotten through them, I'm sure. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
I think there's a line we have to figure out. It's like we want to keep a very consistent end. We want to have CLS. We want to have, you know, one type of team, so that way, or just maybe we have to split it to 2 types of teams.
mhm,
Um, so that way, what we could do is, instead of having, we could take the meatiest of our 2 types of teams and drop them in the front. So you have that top one will be CLS and General Kenobi,
mhm,
and then you take, so that would be 1A. You do that half and half, and then you drop about half and half. I mean, I'm not saying we should have half and half. I'm just saying people should
right.
drop in,
Some kind of
and
mix.
then right, and then we'll keep Rogue One and
All.
Maul
Yeah.
and Zal's. Or the other thing we could do is, instead of Rogue One, if you want to shift that away, you can also, if you want to keep it more Sithish, you could keep Emperor Palpatine Zal leads.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we've obviously proven that it is best to put your most difficult stuff in the front, so that
Yes.
that depletes as much of their offense as possible. But we've also seen that anything that is towards the top meta or the current top meta, i.e., like the current, or like our current crew teams and our current Palpatine teams, if you do move them back and they've already had to go through hell to get to it through some kind of difficult territory, that makes those like godly in comparison,
Yes.
you know?
Oh
So
yeah, it's very true.
it's the same theory with the few, or, you know, ever dwindling amount of very good teams that we put all the way at the back. It's like by the time you've worked all the way to the back, more than likely you don't have much left, and you just can't do anything. How are you going to fight those teams when you've used everything, you know, that you have on offense? So, I don't know. I mean, I personally think that the Kenobi barracks may be best to keep hidden at first. I don't know about moving them to the front because they are so vulnerable to resistance squads. It could be that having CLSs and having the Zals and the Rogue Ones is enough of like not that some people may be trying to use their resistance to just get wins, like if they're having a hard time just to get through it. It seems like if you have Kenobi Barrises right in one of the front territories, instantly, okay, everybody take your resistance teams, your Zeta Finns, and take care of those Kenobi Barrises. You know what I mean? What do you think? It could easily be that an organized guild would save their Zeta Finns in case they come across a Kenobi Barris wall, you know?
Right. That's
But
what I'm saying is that we can. I mean, if we could put some of our Kenobi barracks in the front,
mhm.
and yes, and they'll use their Zeta Fins for it. But we can also try and keep some of them behind. Um, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, exposing them early might get at least a couple of people to go, "Oh, Zeta Fins, here we go."
Yep.
So I see your point there. Just trying to make those the first four areas, 1A, 2B, 1A and B, and 2A and B, as strong as possible. But I still think we also should lightly sprinkle some disgusting stuff in the back.
Absolutely.
I think that the Phoenix squads are nice, but Phoenix squads tend to be pretty. It seems to be they tend to get ripped through a little bit fast.
They do. They do. Although they do wear down a specific, kind of squad that you can or have to use against them probably.
Yeah,
It's
I'm thinking that even if we have Phoenixville, we should have like one or two gotchas in there.
yeah.
Just something to kind of just take a top level arena team and drop four of them, or maybe six in those last four areas, just to make it that if you've gotten this far, that's nice, but
Mhm.
we're gonna drop an anchor in here,
Yeah.
and you got to get through. Now, yes, you might wipe out everything else in this thing, but you also have that anchor to deal with.
Well, and I agree that that would be absolutely amazing, but considering the drastically, I feel, increased requirements of how many squads you have to put into these territories, and then also with us already having, filling what we do in those front four territories, where do we get these extra squads? If we
Uh,
if we put them in there, they either need to come from those front four territories or detract from what we were hoping to gain for offense. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hmm.
It's tough. I mean, I don't have an extremely recent analysis of what exactly we have. I really need to take one of these review phases and really go through, and there's a couple things that I so wish they would have done differently when it comes to these new, like, you know, showing the defenses and keeping the cards. Like, why do the plaques of the defeated teams need to be darkened so much, for one, so that it's difficult to see the stuff? I mean, I'm looking on my computer now and it's much easier to see, but when I'm looking at my phone during the day outside, somewhere with, different lighting or whatever, I can't even see the stuff. And then they've got ally defeated all huge, pretty much like they did, and it never mattered before because you only saw it for a few seconds right when you finish a team. But why do they need to cover the team so that you can't look back and see what it was easily?
Yeah, because it was hard. You look at that Crew's masterpiece of a team, and you're going,
Yeah,
you had to know what it was because there's these big words across the top.
yeah,
Maybe they should have just changed the color of the background to red
yeah,
or something. Just here, let's change the background color. Which it actually does blow my mind. Uh, I work with I work with management. I do lots of spreadsheets. I mean, I've done Excel spreadsheets for years, and changing the color of the background is like the thing you do.
yeah,
It is how you denote something different than something else.
right,
Yeah. Oh, you're not supposed to enter into these cells? Turn them light gray.
yeah,
You can still see what's inside of them, but everyone knows, oh, I probably shouldn't write in them because light gray is the color of don't touch. You
right,
know,
right.
red is the color of death. Go for it. You know, I'm just saying that instead of ally defeated, they could have graded. They could have graded out the people and changed the background color.
I personally think they should do something to alter the most of the area of the card. Leave the players, like the members of the team, uncovered, undarkened, uncolored, anything, uncovered by words, so you can plainly see them. Leave them looking exactly like they did before they got defeated. Do something with the rest of it. Move ally defeated over in that big open area where there's nothing to the left. Like, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, hoping that it's just that, just like everything they do, oh, we need to fix something. Let's do this. And then they just throw it out and they don't think about it. They don't test it. They don't ask anyone any questions. I'm hoping that either people will say stuff and or they will now take the time to like refine it. They just probably rushed it out to get it into this next territory war, hopefully.
Yeah, that's hopefully.
And then there's just other things too, like when it comes to territory war, just setting defense, and you look at the leaderboard, why the heck does it not tell you, like just like in territory battles, have the whole list of active members and have zeros for the people that haven't done it? I literally, towards the end of the defense phase, had to, on my lunch break, get out and start putting into a spreadsheet because I hadn't, just to see, to figure out which of the members hadn't even joined the thing. I didn't even know that much. I had to fill out a spreadsheet just to figure that out, and then I had to go.
I do every time.
Yeah, and then I had to go through again to fill the spreadsheet out again, looking at who has set defense, just to figure that out. When all they have to do is exactly what they're already doing in territory battles.
Yes, they just got to put zeros in. That's all we want to see. And so, and you know what? This is the kind of thing where the quality of life stuff is just going to be, it's going to be a slow roll. It's gonna take a little bit, and they'll eventually get the stuff into there.
Right.
Until then, we're sitting here, kind of, just waiting for them to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, they made good improvements. I think most of the improvements were positive. They looks like they're listening to us. It's just, I don't know how much developers they actually have, and they probably had to prioritize what they did and what they couldn't do. I know I'm making excuses for them. I develop software, so I kind of understand the whole process.
Yeah.
So it's kind of okay. Yeah, but still, you'd hope that they could get some more of this stuff done and ease our burden. I would love to get, like, you know um uh, instead of the listing of people, I would love to get here's an output someplace of all the people in your guild. You know,
Yeah.
I want to get a galactic power output. I have to go to Star Wars GOH to do that. So, and everyone's got to kind of sign up for it if they are. And I mean, we're fortunate. I think we have four people now in our guild who aren't on there.
I haven't looked at it since the newest members joined, which I'm so excited about personally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're talking, they're chatting up. I'm like, that's good.
Ye-
That's all. It's the symbol of a good player versus symbol of the players that kind of we have iffy of, is the people who stay quiet and don't do anything. We've seen them. Banis, Darkside, JT Mad. Just you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
part of this game is about talking to people, the social aspect of it, and it makes the game more fun if you actually interact with the people.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've played other games where it's like, yeah, I could play this game, but if there's no one to talk to, I will lose interest in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
If there's people to talk to, I can stay with it for way too long.
Yeah. And the ultimate to me is getting to voice chat. This is because it's so much easier to converse
Right.
when you're actually talking. It's insane.
All right, so let's make sure we stay at. Okay, so we have territory. So territory wars. What are we thinking? What's the fun? Do we think we want to put more junk in? I think we really should be putting more junk in the back. Like, anything people want to drop in there, let them drop in there.
I agree.
Because
Do you think, or when you say the back, are you talking about both ground territories in 4, B and
yeah,
C?
yeah, I'm thinking both of them back over there. I mean, we'll put our best ships in there as well. I mean, really put the best ships in, because the way we tend to play, we never touch ships.
Yeah.
most people never go towards our ships. We never end up hitting their ships. So if we're hitting their ships, they are losing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think the ships might have been better off placed differently rather than a group. I think if they wanted to make sure and force ship interactions, they could have done something better with them. I don't have a suggestion for them yet, but I think that the back should be like pretty much all junk with if anyone can supply one nice team.
Yeah.
Like I can keep the Ewoks in the back, but I think the Ewoks are actually better in either the third or the second row.
Yeah. You want
'Cause
them
that's
to
it.
get to them.
Yeah, because they have not been attacked for the last like 8 territory wars.
Yeah, well, nobody's stuff that's been back there.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's ridiculous.
So, I mean, they've been a nice anchor, but they've done nothing. So I think that those Ewoks are, I mean, that's a set of that's a set of G12 Ewoks with 4 Zetas attached.
Yeah.
They don't have my best mods, but they are still, someone's gonna go in there going, oh, they're Ewoks.
Yep.
And after they've just burnt everything on CLS teams and Zol teams,
Mm-hmm.
all you need is one person going in there going, oh, I want to try an Ewok squad.
Yeah.
And you know what happens once they do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yay.
what do you think about Night Sisters? I would absolutely continue to put my Night Sisters in that one of those back territories just for that same thing, a hopeful anchor just in case they happen to push all the way through, they get to a bunch of junk, blah, blah, blah. But do you think that, like, most guilds are getting a hold of enough, Zeta Veers trooper teams that they're really not as good? I know I've heard people say, like, they're just not as good on defense anymore just because more and more people are getting trooper squads, so I could
Yeah,
figure...
but then, yeah,
Would
of
they,
course.
would,
Go
would
ahead.
they have them by that time?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I personally save my troopers every territory war until the end, just in case there's, like, we get to something where the only thing that's keeping us from finishing a territory war is some crazy Night Sister team.
Oh, and let me guess, this trooper squad is just so nice because you essentially just keep killing the zombie.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And-
I mean, that's the thing. It's only so good with a weak zombie. So I've been actually buying zombie shards and shipments here and there whenever I notice her, just because eventually the better thing to do really is, for defense especially, is to actually have a powered up Night Sister zombie. Just because troopers don't, they don't work as well if they're not killing that zombie over and over. So.
Yeah, and I tend to keep my troopers for the Phoenix anyway.
Yeah.
They tend to be more. I tend to like the reliability of how troopers just rip through a Phoenix team.
Mm-hmm.
But I think having a Night Sister in the back definitely is good because by the time you get to that back one, and it would be the back center. Psychologically, I think people tend to shift more towards the bottom or the top.
Yeah.
And the center tends to be this place that they only go when they hit a wall.
Right.
And I think it just happens to be just a psychological thing. So I think, putting them in the center means they've gone through so much stuff that if by the time they get to that center one,
Yeah.
and they just went through a whole Phoenixville.
Yep.
People are burning their Veers against Phoenixville. That's where I usually burn them.
Yep.
I use my, I don't know what did I use? I've used a couple of things to take out Night Sisters, other than, but they were all lower, weaker Night Sisters, not like an arena level Night Sister squad.
Yeah. That's much easier to get through for sure. I mean, you just need to have AoE, high damage output type of like a Wigs on some kind of reasonable rebel squad can do pretty good.
I think I did it with. Oh, I remember what I did it with. I think I dropped. Where was it? I had it on here, and it was my. Oh yeah, it was like I have a 69K team, but it was Akbar, Baze, Chirrut, Farm Boy Luke, and a G11 Lando.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's like, look, I have healing, and I have lots of AoE, and it was
Right.
pretty much Lando that did everything. It's like Baze kept on taunting long enough for Lando to just start decimating everything,
Yeah.
and they
And
couldn't. They couldn't.
oh, Chase is the beginning of a great, even a good against a good Night Sister team. When I was really running Night Sisters in Arena, I pretty much had to avoid any CLS squad that had Chase because it was just much, much more difficult to fight. So.
Chase is one of those groups that meta that seems to be very timeless. Like they
Yeah.
don't seem to go out of style because they always tend to do well against everything.
Yep. So,
But
so if we do what we're talking about with generally both territories in 4, B and C, is that enough extra offense? If we put total crap back there, we have all of our droids, everyone's got their droid squads that they're putting in there. Most people will have whatever good squads. Let me just even take a look at what kind of stuff in this particular one people put in there. So, it's already lightened up. I mean, there was Timekiller had an all G12 clone squad, your Ewoks, my Night Sisters.
this is what was left out in the back area,
This
right?
is what was in 4B, yeah. And not a lot else that's really like, oh man, if we had only had that on offense,
Yeah, I mean the Ewoks are obviously they're good on offense, but not against any current metas.
Yeah,
They're not a CLS killer. They're not an Empire killer. I doubt that they would do well against any of the Empire stuff.
yeah,
So in the end, the Ewoks are they're always, as far as I could tell, better on defense. You just hope that someone trips over them and they could survive that first attack,
right,
and then now they have turn meter. That's pretty much the hope. Even you got that's not even Commander Zodi. That's Commander Ashoka. Um, but still, those kind of squads are the kind of squads that you put when they're on defense. People gotta go. Okay, do I have the right stuff to deal with them?
yep. Well, that's
And
one of the best of those, just because no one is used to fighting them. Nobody knows what the heck to bring in against them.
what do you use against clones?
Oh, I was talking about Ewoks.
Oh, Ewoks. Yeah. Now I'm looking at like Ewoks. I know what to. Against Ewoks, it's.
You know, but most people don't know.
I'm just trying to think of. I'm just trying to think of what would be what is the quintessential best thing to use against them. Chase, right? Now, Chase or Zaris. I mean, seriously, the Ewoks cannot beat a Zaris team.
Ah, that's good to know.
They are not in a 5-minute time limit.
Yeah,
I could beat a Zaris team, and I would slowly but surely whittle them down by activating the crit immunity on getting the crit immunity on someone, dropping a low graze, having low graze, what do you call it? Using low graze ability to drop the taunt off of General Kenobi, and now Zaris now has both turn me has now has she has what do you call that? She is dazed. She has whatever the character is dazed and has crit immunity.
right.
And then I just start attacking as fast as I can against that person, trying to beat the clock from when they take a turn. Because if they take a turn, the crit immunity goes away, and I'm back to having to. So it would take several iterations. They couldn't kill me because Zara's team just didn't have the takes unless they put a Nihilus in there.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And Zaris Nihilus will kill Ewoks because if the AI is going, they don't know well enough that Nihilus needs to be target number 1.
Right.
But other than that, it's like because it's hard to kill them. Every attack they do grants them health and grants all of them health. And every time Wicked attacks, it grants protection and health.
Right.
So they're just constantly regaining their health. That's why every single raid I put them in, they don't do a lot of damage. They survive.
Right.
They go against Wizard. They survived all the way to the end with almost full life and health against Scion. And same thing, full life, Nihilus, full life and health.
Yeah.
But they just didn't do a lot of damage.
So the question is, we had basically already changed it to be put the lower level first order that we have back there.
Yeah.
And then, people, there's a few squads, and especially Mutai. You still there, man? You've been super quiet.
Well, hey, I'm just listening right now.
Cool.
I'm just trying to figure out who didn't participate.
I can tell you from defense-wise, Devin was the only one who didn't defend. I haven't done the rest of the stuff yet. I could tell you
Because
that.
we had
Yeah,
43 total people in banners.
that's it. That's all we had.
Yeah, and then we missed one because Darkside's gone. So there's
Yes,
one person who didn't do anything.
there's one person who did not actually do anything. They just mooched off of us, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. And that would have to be Devin. It
Well,
would have to be. Let me see. Did Devin attack at all?
if you look at the attacks,
No, it was Devin.
we had
Devin was the only person with 0 defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we have 7 people that 6 if you subtract Darkseid, I guess. 6 people who didn't post a successful attack. But it's hard to say because that does not necessarily mean they didn't attack 12 times, and just
Right.
not actually get any wins. So,
Which is why I'm always going like defense. Put someone out in defense. Let us see that you're there
right,
and defending. Devin normally doesn't defend, and normally he comes in at the last minute and does a couple attacks.
right.
Sometimes he does a whole bunch of them. I mean, we've seen him post. What was it? I think he didn't participate in the last TW, and then the TW before that, Devin had Devin had 1 successful attack, and in the one before that, Devin had 5 successful attacks, but no defense. He's never defended. And so I don't think there's. Let me see. Did he defend in the one before that one? Nope. Devin has never placed a defensive unit, ever. Every single time, he always just sits there and drops attacks. And if he does attack, it's 5 attacks. It's 5 attacks, or it was 1 attack. Or in this time, he didn't help at all. He literally, ran on our coattails and did not support us. So I hate it. It's a 2.2. You're a 2.2 million GP person.
Agreed.
Come on.
Agreed.
I mean, you're looking at Kai. Now Kai Wampacure. He keeps on changing his name on me.
Yep.
And Kai put 2 defensive squads out there. I mean, he put what he needed to do.
And attacked 3 times.
Did he attack 3 times?
Yeah.
Because I haven't checked out what all the defenses were out there. Look at that. He's got 32 points. That
Yeah.
might have been 2 successful attacks. I can't. It's hard to tell now.
Yeah.
It's very. That's the one thing is you will never know how many attacks someone did now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the point scoring, you can get 2 10s or 120.
Right.
So.
Too true.
Or 19.
What?
You get a 19. I had a 19 with my Newt Acolyte Zombie. We only have 3 players, so you get.
Yeah, same as I.
Well, I mean, you could get through that with 20. It's just if you lose, like, say your Newt gets killed, then yeah, you lose.
My Newt did get killed. You're right.
Yeah, so that would be why.
Yeah, my Newt, he just didn't stay stealthed.
Yep.
No, I want my Newt to die as quick as possible. That way, Acolyte gets off more shots. That's the way I look at it.
So that's still working for you guys? I wish I could do it as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you didn't do it?
Well, I can't. Because
oh, that's right.
My zombie's on a Night Sister team.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It takes out a Phoenix team.
Yeah.
It takes out a Phoenix team of like 70, 80K.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing you need to watch out for is Sabine.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna work if she's on the team, basically. The only evidence I had of in the last couple, and even in this one, I noticed a Phoenix squad toward the end that was not very powerful at all, and somebody went in and did like the teeniest bit of damage to Kanan's protection. I was like, that had to be Newt Akalambi, and it just went wrong.
And it might have been as if the Acolyte doesn't get stealth. That's it.
Yep.
End of story.
But if she does, man, it is awesome.
Oh yeah, and she usually keeps that stealth.
Yep.
But it just takes what? She's got what, a 75% chance?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
So back to the question: are our droids and Mutai's extra teams that he put back there, if he's able to attack in the future, enough extra offense to make it worth, changing what we're doing back there? I mean, I love the idea of hiding total garbage, continuing to generally do exactly what we've been doing, hiding 2 territories full of total trash and them having no idea that we went offense. You know what I mean? It's not a whole lot of offense that we're really gaining. I mean, the droids, if you pick the right matchup, that could be a lot of wins, I guess, but, you're not going to be...
I'm not sure if I don't think I've ever really needed my droids. I don't mind just dropping them into that area over there.
Oh, no, but what I'm saying is, I mean, if they're G9s, G10s, especially G11s, or, something of some kind of value as far as being pretty powerful, compared, having them on offense and having put a team that's all like blue gear, you know what I mean, in their place, that's an advantage for sure.
Yeah, and the only risk you run is if, again, like what happened with us, when we punched that back over there, every time we punched a new area, we had people going, "Ooh, I have a squad that's low enough to successfully take that out."
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's a risk-free run. It's a lot of points to be given out.
Yeah. It just it feels to me like if we keep doing what we're doing, I mean, how many territory battles have we done now where they don't even, maybe they get into the vertical slice 3, but don't get past that?
Yeah, I just don't think that those back ones really, maybe you put a limit of 50K and just say any team of 50K or higher can go here. Because if I had to put a team of 50K, I got a Mace Windu team that's just dying to be dropped dropped in there. Because Mace Windu, I got a 67K Mace Windu team, which can't take out a 50K team.
Yeah.
It really can't.
It seems to me like to make this change is basically to make the gamble that they're not going to reach it at all. If we do this and they reach it, that's it. They're going to get those points for finishing that territory,
Well, that's the thing that's why I said, I mean, we can leave. We can I mean, we could put the Ewoks up in front, but we can leave some large team in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Leave something, something that's... It doesn't even have to be the most meatiest team out there.
Right.
But if we leave like an 85K team in the back there, after in their back, just one, take one person and say, okay, you got a team, is not all that great, up in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. One person drops in the back. Like your Night Sisters are better off using in the front. The Ewoks are better off using the front. But Timekiller squad, leave it back there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with what you're saying for sure. I personally would say leave my Night Sisters back there. If you put them in the front, there's much more chance that somebody's going to have a Zeta Veers trooper team and just wipe it out one shot.
So then you keep your Night Sisters in the back,
yeah,
and Timekiller can keep his other in the back, and now you have 2 anchors of weirdness.
Yeah.
And then those guys stay in the back with a bunch of bleh.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it. You have at least something in the something anchored there. So yeah, they'll take out a whole bunch, but they still got one team to try and deal with. And if they've worked through those 2 fronts over there, they're going to be weak.
Yeah.
They might, and even if they end up burning 18 teams to take that guy out,
right?
They're not going to really be able to do much else.
Right.
And even so, in the third section, that third slice, we're still not weak. We're still not putting stuff that's, pushovers.
No. I mean, I looked at our Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn territory, like once they were like, oh man, they might finish Crew's, EP team. I just went to remind myself, what is it that they're gonna see once they open this up? And I was surprised that, there's some G12 stuff in there and, a lot of like G11, G10. So yeah, it isn't like necessarily all pushovers in there. Actually, a lot of them are pretty darn good for a Jedi team.
Yeah, I mean,
So
look at Chaotic Havoc has a Homa in there.
yeah.
He's got, you know.
Yeah,
Oops.
that's gonna do some holding in that territory, definitely. There's also I have, and as well as you have, but I have pretty much the same squad that Crew had in 2B. I don't have the Zeta on Scion, so I don't know if that is just like that's what made it as crazy as it was. But I mean,
that Zeta is nice.
I won't have it for this territory war, but I will. I'm like 4 Zetas away, 4 mats away from having another one, which I really was thinking I need to get started on Jedi Training Rey because I haven't put any on her yet. But if I push her off, because at least for now we're not going to be moving to heroic, at least not expecting to do anything in it, and possibly, and I want to talk about this too if we got time while you guys are on, about the Sith Raid and what we should do beyond this one that we're in.
Yeah.
I don't absolutely have to, Zeta her just to add another couple million to a run, that I do with her or whatever to have the whole guild get through the whole thing that much maybe it isn't so necessary. Maybe it would be better for me to put that Zeta on Scion and then I could put that same squad in 4C or even in 4B as well if we think that one is more the one that's really important because that's going to, whether they go north or south, then you've got something really difficult that they can't, hopefully get through to get that last territory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, and what I was going to say is, I used that squad, well, not even that squad. I don't think I used my normal arena squad, which basically is what you'd run with Scion, but with Tarkin in there instead. I used that on offense to take out one of the, the squads on their front line. That wasn't necessary. That squad could do so much more on defense, than take out one squad on offense. So I could absolutely put that back there somewhere too.
Yeah, I mean, because I could split it up. I could split up mine as well. My next Zeta is going to be Nihilus. I've already decided that. It's like I'll do Jedi Training Rey after Nihilus. I have 13 more matches to go, but I was calculating out. I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, next Saturday I get that.
Yeah.
All right. So, but I need it for my arena.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then once I get that, I think that Nihilus and Scion are just going to be insane in the arena.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's at least one guy in my arena that's got that, and I can beat him, no problem. And I'll tell you what, I've been running the usual squad, but with Tarkin instead of, once people got Scion instead of that. And that's what I had been running anyway, and just kind of falling just like everybody else into maybe like the high teens to early 20s or whatever. As soon as they made the update and gave Sith Trooper his auto taunt, I haven't dropped below 12. Like in 24 hours since.
Nice.
So
I drop, but I have Sith Trooper still out there. I think I'm using Thrawn instead of I think my arena is different from yours, and that I'm using Thrawn instead of Tarkin, right? Or using Naya.
Yeah, that seems to hold better on. I mean, even the people that are running Scion, most of them are running Thrawn instead of Sith Trooper, even. Just
Yeah, because I would
Scion as a
Thrawn just the cleansing, the protection, the cleansing and the protection game, and just taking one tank out of it. If it's a Sith Trooper or if it's a General Kenobi, it's just and Nihilus. I look at it going, Thrawn takes out one. Thrawn takes out the person that's annoying, and Nihilus will sit there and go, "Oh well, I'll take out the Sith Trooper's defense. One, because he could just use his basic to take it out."
Right.
And then it comes back slowly, but by the time I'm taking it out, they've already used all their specials.
Yeah.
So it's the kind of thing where, that team lets me punch through. I really want to get Scion. I really want to see how Scion works.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, I don't know. I don't want to lose Tarkin. I certainly can't lose Vader.
Yeah.
I can't lose the Emperor, so it's like, who do I? God.
Oh, so you are using Tarkin?
No, I'm not. I could. I mean, he's Zeta Zeta'd for me because he was my ship
wow.
commander.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could drop him in there, and I have his potency one too, and I could probably go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
No, right now I'm using Nihilus and Thrawn
Oh, okay.
as my two. I think that's pretty much the two. It's Emperor, Vader, Sith Trooper, and pick your next two.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tarkin's turn meter removal is insane. That really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that probably the only reason that I'm doing all right on defense is because I lucked into a few very good mods. I mean, maybe 2 more from since they changed the mod store and whatnot, and have gotten my Vader to like 259, and happened to have my Tarkin at like 2. I think I have him at 260 right now even. I'm gonna feel the loss when I stop using him, just freaking removing everyone's turn meter like right away, doing all the Force Crush, Culling Blade, done, adding more debuffs with Tarkin, and then immediately removing their turn meters. Just like, what the hell are they supposed to do from there,
So
yeah.
what do you guys think, Trooper or Scion? I have them both 6-star, same gear level. Which one would be better to finish first?
Do the Trooper.
The Trooper? Okay.
I think the Trooper is, if you're running an Emperor Palpatine, if you're running Emperor Palp or anything else like that, that Trooper he's the new short Trooper.
Agreed.
He just,
okay.
I mean, he puts offense. He does the offense down to everyone. So, I mean, that's just wonderful.
Yeah, I personally think, yeah, I mean, you did say the difference between Sith Trooper and Short Trooper, right?
Just Sith Trooper and Short Trooper.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sith Trooper for sure. Just the fact that he's an auto taunter, he doesn't have to get a turn in order to taunt. Where, all they have to do is put like, ability block on Short Trooper, and he's not doing much for you now.
Yeah, what I was asking was Scion.
Yeah, versus Scion.
Versus Scion. Oh, versus Scion.
I'm still thinking if you're gonna level up one, the Sith Trooper is.
I should do him first, okay? Because
I think he's right now. We know he works. Scion, the jury's still out on Scion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you this. I have a G12 Scion with one piece of Gear 12 on him, but without the Zeta. He was in my arena squad for 4 hours. I dropped further than I had dropped in a long time. Possibly just because it was the first one on my shard and everybody probably wanted to hit it, but everyone was able to beat it, so he came off. And even with the Zeta, I mean, like I said, there's at least one, if not 2. One of them is G12 with the Zeta, one of them is maybe G11 because he's only 6 stars with the Zeta. Both of them drop more than I do. So
yeah, it's unfortunately he looks like he should be he looks like he should be this wonderful new tank for Sith. The biggest problem is, I mean, at G11, he's got 70,000. He's got 70,000 between his protection and his health.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare that over to the Sith Trooper, the Sith Trooper's got at G12 has got 82,000, but the Sith Trooper's got 100% defense.
Right.
And what do you call it? Scion is great. Scion will beat out the Sith Trooper if he can get Hatred. The problem is Hatred is a 15-turn cooldown.
Right.
And you're trying to, and you need to get, and the only time it goes down is if Scion applies pain to somebody.
Right.
Then he taunts. So it's not like you can get around him not being hit. He's going to be hit by everybody.
Yep.
So it's like Sun Fac, and it's like Sun Fac's ship in the in Ship Arena. He goes out, he dies quickly. It doesn't matter if he's got all this extra defense and whatnot. He dies pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would almost say that for Scion, you have to sit there and almost put in defense mods and with protection, and forgo all the offense that he may have because he's going to get a bunch of it later in the hopes that he survives.
Yeah, well, most people that I've heard talking about it are talking about making him as fast as possible. One of the guys on my arena shard, that's definitely what he did. He's got his Scion like in the 250s at least.
Oh,
I think it's this guy. Let me take a quick look.
yeah, that
Well,
would make sense.
247.
Makes sense. It gets rid because if you make him go first Vader pops the crush, and Vader swings the saber at 250. He should go next, and he can get rid of every buff on the table
Yeah,
and apply his pain first off.
right.
Um, you know,
So this guy was lucky enough to be able to put together what did I say, 247 speed out of an offense set and a potency set. He doesn't even have a speed set on him. So what I had done was tried to put a speed set on him with as many, defense and or protection if I could type of secondaries and primaries, and I was only able to get him without tearing other tunes apart to maybe 230s or something. And so, but anyway, I've also heard people talking about how he's missing Treya at this point. You know, when
oh,
both of them are on the team, anytime Treya or Nihilus will be critically hit, that reduces the cooldown for hatred also. So I heard some people that are running and messing around with this stuff talking about eventually once you get Treya, like EP and Vader most likely will not be on the team. Actually,
yeah.
it's probably
When an
gonna
ally suffers a buff.
it's probably gonna end up being Treya as the lead, Nihilus and Scion, Sith Trooper, and Sith Assassin. So that basically you have Sith Assassin able to speed up the whole team, get him and everybody else going as fast as possible. You've still got 2 tanks. And I have to say, I haven't looked at Treya's kit at all. It's
It's
so
so
far out in the distance that...
here's her unique. This is the compassion is weakness. This is the unique that she has that also works with Nihilus and Darth Sion. So when an ally suffers a debuff, she gets 4% bonus protection stacking
It's actually
until the
10% when you've finished it.
10. Yeah, let me say it's 10% bonus protection stacking until the end of her next turn. At the start of each Sith's ally's turn, she spells all debuffs on them and deals damage equal to 5% of their max health for each debuff dispelled. So essentially she turns everyone into fulcrum.
Yep.
Well, your Sith into fulcrum. When allied with either the two of them are critically hit or inflicted with a debuff, she gets 12% offense stacking for 2 turns.
Yeah. So
So it's the thing that she keeps hitting Scion, and Scion's meant to die.
yeah.
Scion is just you're gonna take hit, you're gonna keep getting hit, he's gonna get hit, and all Trey is gonna do is go, well, I'm just gonna get 12% offense, 12% offense, 12% offense, ha 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 ha. You're
Mm-hmm.
building her up for that for what's probably that Saber Storm. Or even that let's see, Saber Storm deal special damage to target enemy, inflict defensive tenacity down 2. If Treya has full health, deal damage an additional time and inflict ability block. If target is buffed, deal additional time, and it can't be evaded. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's she gets a daze too. That's insane. She gets a
Oh.
basic she gets a basic daze.
Yeah.
Her special damage to target enemy and daze them for 2 turns.
I also love what is going to be a helpful counter to pretty much eliminate Jedi training Rey squads. In her leadership ability, when an enemy uses an ability outside of their turn, they take damage equal to 35% of their max health.
Jesus.
So the BB-8 and Rey are just gonna be like killing themselves.
Wow. And you have, of course, all Sith allies get 40% critical avoidance, which is kind of weird. It's almost counter to her unique. She
Yeah.
she betrays herself, which is apropos.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is weird because I was just gonna say a few minutes ago, this squad is yet another instance of more recently them wanting to just make critical hits the naughtiest thing in the world. They want to
Yeah, I mean,
nullify all of your
Yeah, you shouldn't be. You should never be hoping for critical hits.
Right.
But you get 40% potency. That's nice.
Mhm.
Debuffed enemy takes damage. All Sith allies recover 10% health. And everyone's going to be debuffed on this. This is going to be no question. It doesn't matter who it is because no one's going to be able to keep tenacity up because Nihilus will just take it away. And yeah,
Well,
um,
and Scion can take it away,
yeah,
right?
Time can take it away too. Yeah, and wow, and when an enemy gains a buff outside their turn, they lose 50% offense until the end of the next turn. See, so it's like, yeah, oh, you gain buffs, isn't that nice? And so it's essentially anyone who's any buff alls, she literally turns buff alls against you. Um, spell all buffs on target enemy and increase their cooldowns by 1. Yeah, this is the isolate. Um,
The only thing that sucks is like, what are they doing as far as like not? And I've heard other like the some of the YouTubers and whatnot talk about like why did they wait so long to do the EP Invader stuff? And it would have been amazing when CLS was the main meta. Once the Jedi Training Ray was around, it's like, well, cool, they've created this diverse meta where this team can beat that team but not that one can beat this one but not that one. And this is the same thing. Like, how soon are even top guilds gonna have Darth Treya? What do you? I mean, what is it? It's gonna be top contributors in top guilds that what? Maybe we'll have her in a couple months at the
yeah,
earliest. Would you think?
well, let's
So
see. You can get 30,000. It's 110 for the heroic, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I'll do some math. You keep talking. I'll do some math.
Well, so what I'm thinking is like, is nothing else going to happen with the meta or new tunes that's going to change anything between now and then? Like, why are they making one piece of what they're trying to do with the meta unobtainable for months, even by the top guilds and people who have what's needed to get her as fast as they possibly can? They're months out. Maybe they're a month out. But there's nothing else that's going to happen between now and then. We're just going to be sitting around waiting for them to finish building the new meta.
I don't know. This is 11 is the top, right? They still kept 11 as the top amount of shards.
I'm not looking at it, but probably yeah. Let me go in
We
there.
can't we can't look at it until we. Let me see. I might be able to go find. Yep, I could do find and look at the top at that. You can't actually look. No, 12. 12 is the top now. It was 12, 10,
Right,
8,
dude.
and 7 for everyone. 7 for. Oh wow, they kept it like they did it like Rancor. How annoying is that?
Huh.
It's 12, 10, 8 for the top 3, 7 for everyone in the top 10, 6 for everyone in the top 6 for everyone in the top 30, and then 5. Okay, it's not exactly like Rancor, and 5 for everyone else.
Oh boy. Well, at least they gave us that much. Wow.
Um, the rewards are yeah, the rewards are what are okay. 2,200 guild points for top contender, 600 territory, 600 guild event tokens, and a bunch of money and a bunch of creds. So it's but so it's 12. So it's 12 frags. Is that going to divide evenly into 330? No, of course it's not going to.
Yeah.
So it's going to take 28 raids at top contender to do that. So that's going to be that by 28. So it's going to take 3.08 million guild points to get that many raids, and that's divided by 30,000 if you're actually maxing it out.
Right.
Um,
Which those guilds would
so
be.
which those guilds would be. So it will take 103 days before someone has a 7-star Treya
Okay. And does she? What does she unlock at?
at 5.
So that's what I mean. That's all they need. How long will
Yeah.
it
So
take for somebody to get to 5? Which is a total
um,
of what? 185? No.
it's
230.
145. It's
Or
the
oh yeah,
145.
145 for 5. That's right.
So they'll need 11. They'll need 13 raids to do that. Which will, let's see, where do I put that? 28. There it is. So they'll need 13 raids. So we'll see the first Treyas in approximately 48 days.
Yeah, so 48 days.
We have 48 days until until we see the first people drop in all three.
Yeah,
Now, of course, she will still be only G12.
right,
Nothing they
or
can do about that.
G11.
I mean, G11.
Yeah,
She's only be G11, but I don't think people are gonna care.
no.
And was it? You need to have a guild. You need to have a guild of what? 140? Is that what they were saying? 140
Roughly,
million?
yeah, roughly, I think.
We're gonna have a guild of 140 in half a year to a year.
Possibly.
What's going to end up happening is we're going to end up having to be we're going to end up doing the same thing. We're going to figure out smartly how to get through that raid, and someone's going to come up with some idea. It's not going to
Oh,
be nerfed.
yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that. I mean, there's we're talking about the people who can already do it, and there are people obviously, and I'm sure hoping that there's gonna be strategies that come out, new characters that come out, or whatever, a level cap increase if that does happen, new mods if that does happen, that are gonna make it, speed it up for the rest of us to not maybe have to get to quite the same GP. Because another thing to consider is those guilds that are at 140 to 160 or even beyond, it's like every single member is similarly stacked with the same type of stuff. It's all people who are probably spending some kind of money to spending tons and tons of money and have, Trooper Squad and a Talzin Squad and a Jedi Training Ray Squad and all the squads that are obviously the best, things. So that is a difference, definitely. It's not just gaining GP, you need to actually be gaining all the right squads as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully some different strategies are going to come out from some of the crazy intelligent people that figure out these crazy things like Nutini and whatever.
Oh yeah, and people will come up with that strategy, and
Yeah.
it'll be like, oh, okay, here's the team, we can do it, and then they'll be like, okay, that's an acceptable team. It'll take them accepting that and
Right.
saying, yeah, that's fine for them to keep. Unlike the Stormtrooper Han, where they were like, ooh, that's an oversight.
Yeah. Not to
We didn't mean
change.
for this. Go ahead.
I was gonna say not to change the subject abruptly for just a moment, but I'm so happy for Kai Wampacure, Cayman Carbon Sleeve, the man of many many names, that he got the Wampa and he has something to be so excited about. He says the word Wampa like 10 times every day. It's awesome. Anyway. So, talking about the new raid, what do you guys think about the pace that we're going through it? The fact that we're wasting tickets already. Like Sherm and I were talking, and we work together, and we talk every single day about this game and everything. And we're talking before we even got to the point where we were maxed in tickets. Like, should we abandon this raid and just get started in something lower that we can work through, let people get more reasonable practice where they're not just like, I don't understand because I'm dying immediately, and actually get some kind of rewards instead of sitting here for, a week wasting all these tickets that we're accruing. What do you guys think? I don't think we should abandon this raid now that we're near phase 4 for sure, but what do you think about moving forward?
Um, yeah, I think moving forward, what people have said and what seems to be the consensus is we need to stick to a what do you call it? We need to stick down to like tier 5 and give people that opportunity to play around with the raid.
Yeah. Well, I even wonder how much easier exactly Tier 5 is going to be. One of the podcasts that I listen to, the two guys are in a guild together, and they're talking about it like, I wonder if it's a good idea to start with Tier 1. I need to look at the cost of each tier and exactly how it would work out as far as ticket production compared to the cost, compared to the time it takes to get through the raid, to see where the overlap would be. But he was like, I wonder if just at least for now, right at the beginning, we should play every tier. Play a real quick, super easy one on tier 1, get through it real fast, possibly have enough tickets already to open a tier 2, play through that, and just feel the difficulty ramping up as we do it. And, but all the while be having a much easier time getting a feel for the mechanics because you're actually making progress instead of just like, I get 5 hits in and then that character's dead, or I get, because I'm just imagining, like, I'm not having the easiest time, though the leaderboard makes it look like we're doing amazing. It's only a few squads. It's been open so long, we just keep using them over and over again, you know. But the people that don't have Night Sisters or Zated Sabines or Death Troopers and the rest of the troopers or whatever, I can't even imagine what it's like. I've tried to use other things, even very beefed up rebels or just anything that's not the teams that have been talked about, and you get nowhere. You can do some damage, but the people that don't even have those squads like G12, G11, like they're just frustrated, I'm sure, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting. Even the people like us who are sitting there going, "Okay, we got good squads." I'm going, "This is like insane."
Hmm?
Oh yeah, I threw my clones at them just for fun today. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Like it did like 150,000 damage.
It really seems to me, like I've posted a couple times in Discord, like you have to have one of the couple things that basically either can reduce their defense or have some kind of percent health damage. That's all that's going to work in this raid, it seems, especially when you get to heroic, where there's supposedly going to be, or there's definitely going to be less health or whatever, but it's like you're getting killed much faster, and you absolutely have to have G12 tunes, or you just can't survive long enough to play the system and do the things that we're figuring out you need to do. So I don't know if anything else is going to work other than those few specific things. Jedi Training Ray with Expose. If there's anything else I'm not thinking of that really has some kind of crazy expose mechanics, Phoenix and being able to put Armor Shred on, Death Trooper being able to put Death Mark on, and I don't know if you guys can think of any more. I've basically, at one point I finally, I don't know who I had already told that after the one live stream where everybody was making fun of me about my Rex, I finally geared him up. So I've got him at G12 now, and got at least respectable mods on him to where he's like 220 speed maybe, or 30 or something. So I'm like, well, he's got that one move that does percent health damage. It's even like 30%, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm thinking, well, what if I put together a team where he's going to be the damage dealer because he's the one that has something that can do actual damage to get that white number to pop up, which is so beautiful to see in this raid because it's almost all that actually does anything. And just surround him with people that give turn meter. So I put together, I forget what it was, like him and Jin, and I probably threw Thrawn on just to try it, even knowing full well that he's going to be needed on a different squad eventually. But we can definitely keep in mind for the long duration that it's going to take until we get to heroic, that we should exploit the fact that you get one or two very good or reasonable teams. We gotta ride them and use them over and over and over just to get through these raids as fast as we can, So anyway, tried surrounding him with, constantly running into the problem of where I need to go to get my squad management thing. I just cannot understand why there isn't a button somewhere to go into squad management where you don't have to select a battle in order to see it.
I think it's absolutely. I don't know why they have not done that.
It's insane.
Yeah, there should be something that allows every single person to just go and say, "This is I'm going into squad management now."
Yeah. So I tried a team that was Rex lead with Jin, First Order officer, Captain Phasma, and then I had at the time just put Barris on just to as a healer, just hoping to try to keep these people alive while just Rex does this damage with his one move. And it didn't work, of course. I was able to get him to be able to go and use that move maybe 4 times or 5 times or something. If he's doing 40,000 damage, 50,000 damage, or whatever it is, that's amounting to like 200,000 damage. Yay! So it just so seems like they tuned this. Obviously, they tuned it to try to fix all of the exploits that we've found in the past, which has generally been turn meter reduction, and said, okay, we'll give them 100% tenacity, or at least we'll let you reduce turn meter on your first shot. That's it. As soon as they get damaged, they get like 100% tenacity. You're not gonna land anything else. So it really seems like they tried to focus it towards these very few specific ways that you can actually do damage against them. So, oh,
Yeah, and then it becomes this. But remember, the one thing we haven't tried the 7, but I remember the 6 was always this horrendously long, grueling slog through the mud.
yeah.
And 7's not going to be the horrendous slog through the mud. 7's just going to be your team's going to die pretty fast, and you only get one shot with each team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's partially that, but it's also it just changes the health total to be lower so that it takes a smaller percentage, but it's much harder to get to that percentage.
And
You know what
it's
I mean?
and when that happens in 7, what really hurts is in 7, Death Troopers thing no longer really matters, and neither does the grenades, and neither do the exposes. All of those things are based off percent health, and the health just went way down, so none of those effects care anymore.
Well,
So
I don't know if I'd say that because I mean, if the it should be relative, right? I mean, if the total health goes down, you're doing less, but you're still doing the same type of percent of that total health, right?
I would hope so. You know, I don't know. You certainly. I think I tried it once on Phase 7 hat with like against like the B2 trooper with Thrawn,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, boy, this isn't doing all that much.
Right.
So,
Well, but that's
um,
you're only expecting to get a much smaller total percentage for your run. You know, right now
right.
we're only getting like 2% if we're lucky, somewhere over or under 2% even in this, you know, and it's probably going to be smaller. You really got to have like the best fully geared, fully zated version of these good teams to be doing your 2% or you know, the best ones getting 4%, 5%, or whatever they're getting, you know.
So, what are your so are your thoughts to say that you want to start at 1? You want to go? I would want to look at the rewards actually between them all
Yeah,
and kind of see, because I know that 6 is the only one. 6 gives you, um, 6 gets you, what do
Gear
you call it?
12.
Gives you gear 12.
Yeah,
5 gets you pit raid level gear.
right.
I mean, it's really that drop off. I'm sorry, it's hat more so. It's you get, but it also can drop pit gear. So I saw that in the on the 5 thing when I went to my guild store. When I went over to the guild store and I went, okay, let me see. I said, where can I find, say, the droid caller? You know, I said, okay, who needs it? And I went to a character that needed it and said, okay, where can I find this?
It tells you
Um,
the
it
tiers.
told me that the tiers that it would come in are tier 5 and tier 4 of the Sith Triumvirate.
Right.
So um so if we go to 5, I don't think we should go below 4 because we're talking about not even getting pit level raid gear.
Yeah,
Right.
that was more like a gimmicky, you know,
Yeah.
they were talking about it and the only reason I'd bring it up is like just at the very beginning, let's do each one just, you know, to experience it, get through one super fast, get through the next one pretty darn fast, get through the next one fast, you know.
Yeah. I
And
would
then
say try 4 because we could still get pit raid gear out of it.
yeah. Uh,
And at least that would, you know,
I mean,
and
I wouldn't be at all opposed to trying a 5 next even and find out immediately, can we get through this a lot faster? Is it, you know, is there a huge raise in difficulty and really health or whatever it is between 5 and 6, and that's why this feels like this is ridiculous. This is taking us a week or more, you know.
I think 5, I would rather try a 5. I mean, I think knowing that people are saying no, you can't do 7. Seven's insane.
Um,
We need to wait for the people who are better than us, MC Mole and the rest of them, to theorycraft their way out of this raid,
right.
and then we'll just sit there at 5, um, and see how it is. I mean, if 5 is, we gotta see, are we losing tickets off of 5?
Mhm.
Look at the rewards comparatively between 5 and 4. And if we're still losing tickets on 5, okay, it doesn't make sense to drop to 4 where we're never losing tickets.
Right. And
And
I would sure hope also that this is only feeling like such a slog because a huge percentage of our guild, especially because they don't have some of the best teams for this raid already. They just are not catching on. They're not, seeing what we have said already. They're not looking at YouTube videos and, looking at whatever. There's not a ton of information out there at this point. Almost like
Right.
somebody said in Discord, almost everything you see is, guess how good Jedi Training Ray is? Really good. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
pretty. I mean, that's why I was trying to push. I think someone was like going, "Should I get Phoenix or should I get Troopers?" Like, well, do Troopers.
Yeah.
Troopers are a win on phase 3 of this raid.
Yeah.
Troopers are great for TB. They have a place in TW. I'm like,
Definitely.
the Troopers they've got places everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, unless you're really short on ships,
Right.
go with Troopers, and they only take one Zeta. That's it. It's a single Zeta, and they are rocking.
Yep. I didn't pipe up to, what was that Tron, I believe, that asked about that? Because
Yeah.
his Death Trooper is only like 3-star or something. I mean, he's got a while until he can
Oh, okay.
actually, even get to 6-star to where he could start using, or 5-star if we move to 5s and we do those for a while, then got to get to
True.
5-star. But
I didn't look at what he actually had.
yeah,
Let me see. That was Tron who was asking that.
yeah.
Let's
And it's
see.
like both squads otherwise are G7, G8 at the most type of level, and he just wanted to know, okay, which one do I start working on? And I was gonna respond and say, well, you might farm the stars for Death Trooper and possibly gear him because he is key. He is one of the big keys in this. I've seen things where people are using him on other squads, and just if you find the right squad to make use of Deathmark, as soon as you can get it out there, it doesn't have to be a trooper team around him. There's great synergy there with him and with each other, obviously, to make it amazing, but doesn't even absolutely have to be on a trooper squad. You get Deathmark out there, anyone is doing that much more damage,
Well, yeah,
because
I did 2.9 with the Ewoks.
oh, with Death Trooper, yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
it's like, hey, look at all those attacks I finally get. Finally, they mean
They
something.
actually are doing some damage.
Yes. I was
Nice.
like, oh my god. I
Yeah.
would have probably done a whole lot more had that Death Trooper ever gotten the stealth. He literally sat there unstealthed the whole battle.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't do anything to you, man.
Yeah. It's tough too. I mean, with the experience that I have, generally running the same 4 to 6 different teams, um, it is tough with the different mechanics in each phase. Like, there's just lots of question marks that can totally change the way things are going to go. Oh, all of a sudden, the tune that you absolutely really need to go to apply the death mark, to apply the um, Sabine and applying her armor shred, all of a sudden gets staggered and then gets hit again, and now she's got 0 turn meter, and now she's going last, and so many things like that you could be having an amazing run through, 2 topples or 3 topples or whatever, and then all of a sudden something happens where it's like, well, if that didn't happen, this run would have been like, a quarter better than I got. So
Yeah. I mean, watching Sabine get isolated and going, well, there goes her thermal detonator. I
yeah,
mean, that was supposed to give everyone all these buffs, and instead, I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so there's
I mean,
probably it took me a bit to fully understand what was going on there with that isolate too. Actually, I don't know why. It's pretty simple, and I just had this mental block where I kept it first. Some of my first tries in this phase, going like, why didn't it heal her, but it did that? Why did this heal the party but not her?
yeah,
What's going on here?
yeah, that it was a very weird mechanic until it's like, oh, okay, that guy is so everything he does only affects him.
Yeah, and
And
everything anybody else in the party does not affect her
affects
or
him.
whoever
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I tried to call him for assist and got a nope. Got a. He's not assisting right now. I'm
Yeah.
going really. You couldn't just say he can't be targeted by you couldn't. I was almost like hoping for like the days effect, like you shouldn't be able to even target him with anything because,
Yeah, seriously.
but no, you can target them, just nothing happens,
Yeah.
and I guess that's how you learn. But
Right. Oh, so did you get your battling in? Because, man, I'm just sitting here staring at the Sith Triumvirate screen, seeing that we've only got 7 minutes left.
I'm not. I don't think I'm even gonna try the last one. I'm trying to think of who I'm gonna bring in. Did I do my? Yeah, I brought my Phoenix, and they got just under 1 million. I'm not even gonna try the Ewoks because I know they're just gonna. I guess I'll bring. I guess I'll bring my bounty hunter squad in and see if I can get a couple thermal detonators off on her.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, I was able to get just over 1 million with bounty hunters myself.
Yeah, it's my last squad. I'm going. Okay, I'll try.
Well,
I
I'll
mean,
tell you what though, are you using all bounty hunters? Because what I was actually using was Boba lead with why am I Zamwezel, Greedo, but then Jawa engineer
yep, I have
and
that. And oh, you got to be kidding me. Okay, I'm restarting it. Um, the first thing that Darth Treya did was isolate Luminara.
nice.
Nope, nope. Sorry, you're not allowed to isolate Luminara, because I'm like, you just made her useless. Thank you. The big problem was that the last battle I had ended, and I wasn't able to ended, and I literally had, I think, I got just a tiny bit of damage on what do you call it? I just got just a tiny bit of damage on one of the sabers, so they're all out there, and I'm kind of not happy about that. But oh well, they're not gonna do. They're not going to do a tremendous amount, and I seriously doubt they're even going to. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to topple the whole thing,
Yeah.
because my bounty hunters are not exactly what we call um, the best. I'm actually gonna. Will they get turn meter from? Nope. Okay.
You still there, Mutai?
Oh no, I think he dropped out.
Oh, okay.
Can this be? This tech can't be evaded. I like that. She didn't actually pop, so Zamwizel won't. Huh, that's interesting. She used her physical attack against Treya, their detonating shot, and all the thermal detonators are still there. She's isolated right now, so I'm not gonna take a chance on that. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna last right. I just need them to last long enough that thermal detonators actually go down. Let's see. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just
Cycling through, just trying to get to
there goes Greedo.
okay. So I don't understand. Another thing that has made Isolate just a mystery to some extent to me. It is described in the details as isolated, can't be revived, can't attack or gain positive effects out of turn. Allies can't attack or gain positive effects during this unit's turn. I understand the latter parts of that, but okay, just can't attack or gain positive effects out of turn. Because at first I read that and just saw that they can't attack. I'm like, why is it that I'm always able to attack when they're isolated? So yeah, that just threw me for a loop at first, and obviously continued to send to me.
Yeah, I did 500,000 with the bounty hunters. They just don't survive.
So when you're using something more that's a little easier to figure out and do good with, like your trooper team, how do you start? Do you begin by just trying to immediately get to a topple? Do you try to get Deathmark on Treya first and work out a topple so that she's already got Deathmark, and you get back to a second Deathmark to stack it? Or
you never deathmark her until she's toppled.
okay, that's generally what I've done. I didn't realize until like yesterday or something that you can stack Deathmark. And
I didn't realize you do that, but there's a reason you don't deathmark until she's toppled. Because you have to attack her. You can't target the other
Oh,
sabers
of course.
while she's death
Of
marked.
course. And it
So
never
I've had,
lands. I've tried
yeah,
once or twice just to see, because I'm always trying to figure what is the best order to start things with these different teams and whatnot, and I didn't even think about that. Oh yeah, you can't topple. I mean, you could maybe get it with AoEs, especially on a trooper team, but
yeah, you'd have to hope that those AoEs land,
right,
and and in the end, you don't. Yeah, so you're kind of like, nah. I usually wait until she's down and topple,
right,
and then the next turn I take out two of the sabers, get one saber down, and then pop pop the what do you call it, the standalone. Immediately take the saber down, and then standalone ends. Because when she topples, standalone ends.
right. So what's the advantage of doing that? Just to,
Standalone,
I mean,
when there's multiple sabers, I found that the person who's standalone dies. Just they kept on, they get hit, staggered, staggered, hit, staggered, hit, staggered. If they don't ever finish, they have to finish 3 turns on standalone. And
mhm.
if they never finish those 3 turns, the sabers can keep on attacking, attacking, attacking. I had my Sith, I had was a Sith trooper or a short trooper or something, was at half protection, full health, and died in standalone.
Wow,
As I watched the sabers and her just attack and keep him from ever coming out of standalone.
right,
Because all you gotta do, especially with 3 sabers, the chances of one of them procking the one that staggers pretty high.
right.
And so
Well, what I'm wondering mainly is what's you're saying that you do standalone right at the beginning of the match?
no, I do
Before,
standalone just before I take the third saber out.
well, but right, but I'm saying before the first topple, basically.
Even before the first topple, because I want to keep the damage that she's doing to a minimum. And I rarely, if ever, get through all 5 standalones.
Okay. Huh.
Even with the troopers, I end up finding myself dying, finding myself, you know, it's hard because I what happens is you take out the sabers, I do a standalone, I drop, that way it gets rid of all those stacks. It comes back, what do you call it? It comes back around, she gets out of topple, and now we're attacking the sabers trying to take them out. We're gaining more stacks,
Right.
and the troops are gaining more damage, and I don't really have much healing than when I take out those other than taking out those sabers. So it's like take out, and then I want to get rid of those stacks again before the next time comes around.
Hmm.
And that's how I got the 4.9 million with the troopers.
Yeah, well, I must need to, because I kind of thought, now there must just be something about, because you use Shore Trooper instead of Veers, correct? Or
No,
not Veers, instead of Stark?
it says Stark. I didn't use Stark, and I think the reason that's right. The reason I didn't choose Stark for that attack, wherever that was. Um, I must have done. Did I do them last night or did I do them? I'm trying to remember who I. That was the Ewoks. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, I didn't choose. I know I didn't choose Stark because when he was coming out over there, um, you're not doing damage. I mean, I'm not there to do damage with buffs. You know, we're not. I'm not. Wasn't there to actually attack them using buffed up or offense up. I was there
Right,
to do to get death mark to land.
right.
And Stark's got the AOE and has that has attack that does defense down, but didn't seem to be as good. Now I might sit there and do it anyway next time. Now that I kind of got even more of a pattern,
Yeah,
understanding it's bring it down, bring it down, drop that, bring it down, drop that, and keep on doing that. Because that way you cleanse every single time. Essentially, what it means is you should reach like 2 or 3 turns before enrage before you've run out of your cleanses.
okay.
And so because you're not, I mean, that's essentially the way I looked at it. Is yeah, I don't want to take as much damage as I can. Standalone, yeah, standalone can be pretty great for doing damage to Treya, but with the stagger chances over there, I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, just to get back to, yes, you can stack Deathmark, and basically, with the limited understanding of how and when to use standalone, I've done a lot of allowing, like, a lot of stacking of her, what's the name of her buff?
Oh, the I don't the betrayal, something or a betrayal,
Whatever,
something like
whatever
that.
it's called. I'd let a lot of it stack up, and basically you stand alone. It's like I need to protect somebody or whatever. So I need to think more about that for sure. But if you and this could have something to do with Stark being on the squad that I was even able to do this. If you are able to work it out so that you get her into topple, especially if the first one up is Death Trooper and you can get the death mark immediately, then I'd go through a round of everybody attacking. Hopefully, well, obviously you want to have Thrawn's fracture ready to go for that. And if you can use Stark's buff move to give everybody turn meter and get back to Death Trooper towards the end of the topple, I saw it maybe 2 times, even in 2 topples in the same run. That got me a difference of, I think I had done maybe 3.5 the first time with the same team. Then the next refresh, like that we just got finished with, figured this out and was able to get it to maybe 4.1. So there's still something there that's not quite as good as whatever you did, because you were like 4.5 or 4.6 or something, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to remember exactly what I had dropped out there. Yeah, you were at 3. I saw you 3.8 over there. I'm trying to find my pick. You know what? It's on my tablet. Why am I looking on Discord for it when there's
Well,
a picture someplace stuck over here?
so it might be a difference between whether this could be possible without having a Stark on the team, and then what are the differences otherwise that would, is it worth it or not? But yes, if you're in a topple, Deathmark on the first shot if possible, or as quickly into it as possible, and it gets back around to the point where he has that back again, terminate back while she's still in topple, use it again. Why doesn't it just put a 2 up there? Same thing with Armor Shred. You can stack up to 4 times before you're wasting them. Why doesn't it put a number there so you know that it's got 4 stacks? It's ridiculous. But
So
anyway,
it doesn't put so it doesn't put a nu- does it put it doesn't put a number for Deathmark, right? Because I've
nope.
tried it once.
Same as Armor Shred, it does not put a number up there. But if you get it to happen, and I've actually worked it out where I didn't need to use one of the 2 times it worked. I didn't need to use Stark's buff move to get back to his turn, and I was able to use it after doing this to get a good 4 or 5 more attacks. And when you've stacked Deathmark a second time, each shot you'll see that white number pop up twice, like a fracture.
Ah,
Yeah, so if you can work that out, I mean, if you'd normally think like, oh, well, terminates back, but why would I use it now? I'll save it for the next topple or whatever. Don't. See if you can hit it, and you'll get double for whatever is left in that topple.
yeah. I'm trying to think of what I might what why. I'm trying to look at this because I see the picture right now. The only other thing that I could think of is that the short trooper offers survivability.
Yeah, it might just
Maybe
be. I can't think for sure. If I was making it, I don't. Maybe I wasn't making it to enrage, and that was the difference, basically.
yeah. I mean that survivability of the short trooper both has the heal. So there's the extra heal that he has that he's going to be able to pop off.
Right.
Eventually, she won't isolate him. I promise. Oh, she isolates him. He's the first to be isolated every single time.
Yep.
Um, but that's the thing is, he gets isolated. If I don't have him out there, it's random who she isolates.
Yeah.
And so it will draw her isolate to the short trooper who, yeah, he's there for healing, but in the end of the day, he's probably the best person to shunt off to the side and say, "Okay, you be isolated and
Right.
just, we won't talk about you."
Right.
And
I seem to end up with Snow Trooper being isolated most of the time,
ugh,
at least at
and
first.
he's your big damage dealer and your turn meter dealer. He's also a turn meter gainer.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
think that's right, right?
but does it matter with him? Because it's mainly like calling assists or things about attacking out of turn or healing. So does it matter if he gets isolated? It's not like he can't use his basic during a topple or use his AOE when you're not in a topple.
Um, it's not that his basic. When he gets isolated, his unique gets turned off.
Oh.
Snowtrooper gains 30% turn meter whenever any unit is defeated, and other Empire allies gain half that amount.
So, oh, okay. I see.
You also get more critical damage with him, because remember, whenever you also lose the critical damage that he gives you from all your troopers.
Yeah,
So in the end, though, he gives massive amounts of turn meter. So once he becomes isolated, every time you take one of those sabers out, that is 15% turn meter you just lost, and then you lose another 15%, and then you lose another 15%, and every single time.
huh,
And that's what really just keeps, once you take out a saber, they all go down.
right.
And but I'm not sure if it's as easy to do that when you don't have the snowtroopers massive turn meter, because essentially someone goes down and the snowtrooper gets 80% turn meter and everybody else gets 65% turn meter.
Right.
So it's
So, am I right that he would get that turn meter if he got the kill, but he won't get the turn meter if someone else gets the kill?
yes,
Okay,
he's the only one that benefits from his unique.
right,
So he own so that's why I kind of like that's why I think the short trooper, because the first thing she does is she isolates that short trooper. That short trooper then takes the brunt of that isolate, and that means I have my snow trooper Thrawn, um, who I want Thrawn as well, because that's giving protection to people, um, especially during using Thrawn sometimes not to get that extra 45k attack in, but dropping him to the but actually powering up a little bit of protection on people who need it
right.
during that essentially he's got to play a little bit of defense. And that's how I was kind of looking at it as well, as okay, well, you can't, if you just go all out offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, you're going to hit lots more damage. You hit lots more damage, but if you don't survive, if I can survive to one more topple, one more death mark topple, I'm winning out. So I mean, again, I don't know if I can recreate this. I'm not even sure if I'll have the ability to try. It's just after 10. I could always pop them in one more time. Um,
Yeah, well, I'm gonna run in right now too. And I don't know if I mentioned since we actually got into the chat that I am recording this as though I were live streaming, but just recording it like to my hard drive.
okay.
And I did that just in case it was like, enough of what we talked about was cool as far as territory war. And I think I'm absolutely going to post this just because, any amount of what we're talking about with raid strategy and whatnot, as well as what we talked about for territory wars, couldn't hurt for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that this is something like the troopers are probably Jerry Ray is hard to get, but the troopers offer you they offer we'll call it the poor man's way of getting a team that's going to be useful to at least one to two parts of the raid.
Yeah.
And especially Death Trooper, like that's the poor man. If you don't have Jedi Ray that you can work on, the Death Trooper's probably your friend. Um, especially because he also works for the TIE Reaper, and that's a really good ship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone who doesn't, selfless plug, get the TIE Reaper.
It's amazing. I just
If you don't, there's a lot of people don't. It's like I don't care what you're running, the TIE Reaper fits in your meta.
yeah. I just finally finished that, and it's so weird not going straight to that node after every reset and immediately spending five. Yeah,
Oh, I was burning. I was like every day I was doing a refresh on that node. Just once it came out, it was that, and then a refresh, and I did 10 attacks every single time in that node to get
yeah.
that thing.
I never
Uh,
did, just because it seemed to me so often if I did spend it, that's when I would get 0. Ridiculous. So let me ask you this: looking at this phase specifically, when you go in, are you restarting to try to get any particular set of the buffs that are on the sabers? That works better than others. All retribution, all it seems to me like the best would be to have them all have advantage, just so
oh
there's
yeah,
no dodging and no counterattacking.
yeah. The best is to definitely have them have all advantage. Um, obviously, what you want to do is if you know you're going to die, for those people who are sitting there, if you know you're going to die, try and take out as many of the sabers as you can before you go, because unlike phase one, it saves their status. No, because I sat here going into this my trooper with one saber at 60% life, and that's all there is,
Oh, that's nice.
which is nice. So wow, I don't think I'm going to topple her another time. Yeah, spend all your effort to try and take out a saber or two. Make it easier for your next team.
Yeah.
This is very much different than the first phase, where it really doesn't matter how you end, because you're always going to start the same way. I'm not sure if you noticed that in phase one, you always had Nihilus with full protection and two people. Always, every time you start.
Yeah, it was weird. And we kind of thought that me and Sherm were talking about it, and we kind of thought that that was just the way it was going to work, basically. So
Yeah,
it's nice that that's not the case.
yeah. It's nice that it is not the case that it is for the rest of these. This is good. Oh,
So you
do I want to
said
do
that
that?
you take out one saber and then you stand alone, or you take out two and then you stand alone?
Um, I take out two and get essentially what I want is that person who does standalone. I want them to be able to rip that saber out pretty quickly to get out of standalone.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in standalone any longer than I have to.
And does it matter, or who would you choose if you had your choice to be the first one that you use standalone on? Is there someone that's better later on to have it available for than early
Mm,
on?
Not really. You're really looking to standalone whomever you can get that you know, whoever you can get that whoever happens to come up essentially whoever happens to come up before that saber falls.
Okay,
Because unfortunately, as the fight goes on, that gets harder and harder since you have less and less people that's going to come up to.
right.
But I said, I don't think anyone should ever stand alone with all three sabers existing.
Okay,
I think that that's a folly. You're like I said, watching a short trooper die from pretty much three quarters of his every from three quarters like half protection and full life, and just watching him and just watching the screen keep going and the lightsabers keep going, and they killed him without him ever getting. He got one attack from the ability, and then that was it. And it's just not worth it. Two sabers, I think you're still taking a risk. With one saber out, you could probably sit the person stand alone and have them just go off against Treya, and maybe that will work with the offense. Find someone really good, someone who does a nice beefy bit of offense out there,
right.
a really fast person. It doesn't really matter. They just have to survive 3 turns with standalone. That's all they get. Um, but like I said, if you add those sabers with that stupid stagger, what they need to do is come out with a hero that's immune to stagger. Then I will be all happy about that. Actually, with the troopers, I did a nice little thing. This battle, I did something pretty nice. I with that one saber out there, I was able to kill it. I was able to bring it down to very little amount of life, and then my death trooper goes next after Thrawn, and so my death trooper then did actually target her with what do you call it, with death mark.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was able to use General Veers's AOE to take out the saber. I
Ah,
I watched all the animations for the attacks go, and I know that I did the damage because you get that, the entire attack does end up, but now she's already sitting there staggered with death mark on her.
yeah.
So that's something I was able to do. And the only thing I have to make sure to do is make sure that my short trooper actually activates his what do you call it? Um activates his taunt before she comes out, or else I'm gonna be in a world of hurt. The other thing is keeping Vader's AoE until this as well, because his AoE calls all troopers to
Right.
attack, and so that's another thing that's definitely. You're not gonna get another attack. I'm gonna do that. You are gonna get an attack. How did you do that?
Man, I wish I was paying attention to um what the percentage was when I started, because I'm in a run that gone pretty well. I used your strategy of standalone at the beginning. You basically have to get to a third topple before you have standalone ready again. I'm assuming.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go one topple without it, so that's always a problem. Is the getting there one topple is getting through that standalone. I don't know how you get it to go faster. Um, but
Hey
yeah,
guys,
usually I can't. What we got?
hey, it's TK.
He-
Just joining in for a bit. See what's
Hey,
up?
what's up, man?
Just chilling, watching TV before bed.
Nice. We're talking raid stuff at the moment.
Dude, this raid is way too much for me. I have I got no skills in there.
Let's do this.
So, any thoughts on the next territory war, or we just going with same
Um,
random defense?
we did talk about it, and basically, we were talking about what we really have to gain from if we want to keep the front four territories roughly the same that we always do, just to keep it, as difficult for them to get even anywhere near our back, so that we can put a bunch of weak stuff back there and be pretty confident they're not going to make it.
Right.
We were kind of talking about what is the benefit of keeping what we have in like 4B and 4C,
Right. The
So,
benefit worked.
I'm sorry, you cut
I
out
said the benefit. Obviously, it's worked.
well, I mean, it's our strategy has worked. We were hoping basically we could get more offense, by putting a bunch of crap, say, in like 4B and 4C. But so then we were
Right.
kind of looking at what are we actually gaining from taking what we already put in the 4B and 4C. And I was thinking that there was more in 4B still, and kind of just wasn't thinking once we started talking about this that we already changed it to be the weaker end of first order squads, and less people had put anything really powerful back there. So there's not an absolute ton to gain, on like taking what was there and using it on offense from here on out. Um,
Right.
but I mean, we did say that, you could say you were to take all those droids and whatever was good in that back territory, even if it is lower powered first order, but that's something somebody would have on offense, and you were to basically fill both of those territories with utter garbage, stuff that you are not going to use on offense, like, blue geared tunes and whatever, and just fill them up with that, with the exception of maybe 2, 3, or 4 even very good squads back there, so that if they were to get there, they've had to travel through the whole map. They are probably depleted offensively to some extent because we've left it good defense all the way up to those last two territories. And then they're still going to have a Talzin squad or an EP squad or something very difficult that might do even more than what we saw Cruz do in freaking Vertical Slice 2. I couldn't believe that.
That
Like,
was a monster.
what?
I kept saying, "Oh look, more wins! Oh look, more wins!" Like I don't know what they were throwing out at the end.
Oh boy, it's crazy. So,
So what to go with the same thing. I was thinking about throwing my Kenobi squad up in 1B because I'm tired of him not getting like. I almost think we need to pull one or two of those up and really if somebody goes south on us like we did on this last guys, I think if they went 100% south, we would have been in trouble. But I don't think our back lines on the south side, once you get past the first two,
mm-hmm.
back there, they just people I think are still trying to get to the ships, and I think to this point, dude, let's give up on ships and go south.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree as far as that goes. Um, the only thing that worries me about, and we talked about this earlier also, is Kenobi. Like, unless it is a Kenobi team that has someone very fast on it, or a raid Han, it is just food for Zeta Fin resistance teams. And if you have that in one of the front two, 1A, 1B, that's just going to get taken out in one shot probably by one of a myriad of Zeta Fin teams. So that might just be paranoia, but it just seems to me like, I know me personally, having a Zeta Fin team that doesn't even have, it's not going to have R2 on it, and it's not going to have, I guess it would have BB-8, because I don't have a Jedi Training Raid team that I really use for anything. Even not having like the best that you could possibly have of a Zeta Fin team, I'm like, ooh, give me Kenobi Barris. Please let them have a bunch of Kenobi Barrises that don't have Raid Han on them, because it's going to be an easy win,
All right, so
But I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, maybe not a lot of people wouldn't be looking at it that way, or I don't know.
well, let me ask you this: if is that team good anywhere else like other than the Kenobi killer,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's but like in the last territory, I took on something that otherwise would have been a pain in the. I think it was a. What was it? It was another like I might have even been an EP lead team. No, it couldn't have been that because they'd have been really fast. But there was something. All you basically have to look at is something where your Poe is going to go first. If there's anything where your Poe is going to go first, that's check one. Then you need to look a little further, does it have Rex? And he's pretty darn fast to the point where something could go wrong and he could get his tenacity up out there. If it has a Raid Han, it is not worth trying and wasting. It doesn't matter what squad it is. So yeah, there's plenty of other things you can use a Zeta Fin for, and that's why it seems to me like if you keep your Kenobi Barrises hidden at least in the second vertical slice, hopefully maybe trying to get through whatever stuff you have out there in the first two, people will use their Zeta resistance. If they're frustrated, if there's not enough people available that can attack, and it's like, oh, I want to try to help, throw my Zeta Fin at this. There's more
Right.
chance that people could use up one of the things that are just classically super good for Kenobi Barris.
Okay.
So, but I feel you and I hear you. It stinks to have all these amazing squads set on defense that just never see the light of day, man. It sucks.
Yeah,
But it's
still waiting for the Ewoks to see some fun.
yeah, it does seem like the specific setup and order that we've chosen like really does work rather well, man.
Well, that's kind of what I think maybe if we turn 1B or 2B into just, you know what, this is the thou shall not pass area,
Yeah.
right? Between, if give everybody the chance to put whatever quote unquote nasty they want there,
Mhm.
and maybe make that the line, right?
You said 1B?
2B.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Leave, yeah, just turn 2B into, whatever absolute nastiest, right? Because if they go through the CLS, they're gonna have to go through the Bearish back there. And if they go south, you gotta stop them at 2B, or they're just gonna plow through, just like we've done every other team we faced. Once we get past 2B, everything behind it, we've kind of gone through pretty quickly.
Right. Agreed, for sure.
I think we pull everything up into that area and fortify the south, because we've done it way too many times where we've just kind of walked through. And I think that if they had gone south, Crew wouldn't have lasted as long as he did. And once they got past that, I think everything else is chew upable.
Yeah. I agree for sure. We could definitely. I mean, when we were kind of talking about like, say we wanted to try to plan a couple extremely good squads, even in every back territory. The 4 weak territories, if you will.
Yeah, but you only need one squad, right? You almost, let's pick one squad per area, maybe two, and everything else is trash, and pull everything forward.
Yeah. The only problem being that, to take a look at what, say, this past one, what there is to quote unquote pull forward, there's not a lot. We've worked it down to the point where, I mean, there's Ewoks, there's My Talzin, is it your clones?
Oh, I wouldn't even consider them. That I threw them at the end because I just didn't know if I was going to be able to attack.
Okay, you'd use them on attack normally?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I like using. Recently, I've been using them on attack, but I just with the 27, and I literally did. I wasn't gonna get any scores at all until I happened to pull in at like lunch and like, all right, let me see what's up, and that's where I got my 3 kills in the back area.
Nice. So, yeah, other than those, there's not much back there. There's like Peldor put an EP team that's got like Maul and Boba Fett and Vader and Royal Guard. And, you know, there is one, Drum Cub has a Kylo Ren unmasked First Order, not Zetaed necessarily, but that's still pretty good. So there's not a ton there to pull forward, really. I was saying earlier that I have the same squad that Crew has. I'm a few mats away from having the Zeta on Scion, and I was saying that I could use that as one of the squads at the very back, so that just in case they were to end up plowing through, there's going to be at least another one of those, you know. But maybe instead I could put them in 2B also. And if we have 2 of those and everything else, you know, everybody else's EP teams that got put there, and some of the better First Order squads.
Hey, is EP really worth it? I'm getting ready. I'm thinking I'm gonna Zeta him next.
Well,
but I really have a support character with him.
I don't know. I don't know if it's recommendable or not. I mean, there are uses for sure, and he's awesome for sure. But
don't know how long this meta's gonna last.
Yeah, I mean, it's if the biggest part of it is arena that you're wondering about, then it's even more questionable whether it's worth doing or not.
Okay.
We were talking about how basically now people are, you know, getting Scion and having Sith Trooper involved. Everybody that can is working towards getting Traya, and she is more than likely going to be the new meta leader, which is going to make EP not the meta leader, probably not going to be able to compete with that at least. I mean, he would continue to compete just the same against Jedi Training Ray and other EPs that hang around, and definitely CLS and whatnot, but it's going to move towards Traya, Nihilus, and Scion all being on the squad, and most people are thinking that Sith Trooper and maybe EP, not Vader, possibly lose EP as well for Sith Assassin to have the speeding up the team thing. So things are moving fast, man. I don't know if it's.
I mean, it's still, in the end of the day, EP is definitely going to be good for. I mean, it's definitely going to be good for territory battles and the territory war.
He's a good win.
It's not going to be a horrible. It's not going to be it won't be a horrible choice. It's not like going and you know, I'm trying to think about absolutely terrible Zeta that's out there.
How?
Pow has a Zeta?
Yes.
He has a Zeta?
Luminara has a Zeta.
Wait, this is requirement 82. What does a Zeta do? Gain 5% turn meter whenever a rebel ally uses a basic attack.
Yeah, the only reason I ever even found that out is because there was a whole big thing with McMole. I want to say he accidentally Zetaed that and then had to go all in and figure out how to use it to try to save face or whatever. And ever since, it's been a huge joke, and he's all about it. And he wears a POW shirt on his most recent like YouTube videos and stuff. Oh boy. So, we had more good like EP type squads and stuff in 2B than I even realized or paid attention to. There was only one or two that had Scion and tried to be that, you know. Molly's, I didn't notice how long it sat there before they got the courage to fight it necessarily.
Oh, they didn't fight till the end. He was the last one in there, and then they decided.
Are you talking about Molly's or Cruz?
Oh no, I was looking at Cruz. Which?
I could have sworn just cycling through I saw Molly. Maybe I just couldn't see because they got ally defeated plastered all over the front of the squads. Damn it!
I know it's like this is not good. I want to be able to look at what squads were used, but yeah, that it's like you go in and you're like, I can't see who's that middle person there. You can't see
Yeah,
the middle person.
yeah. I mean, if
Kill
you
3 people.
really look, you could figure it out. But it's like, why do I have to really look to figure it out?
Drop the
Yeah,
ally.
we
Look,
both we did.
you got a spot right underneath the person's name on the left over there. Drop
Yeah,
it down over there.
ridiculous. So, okay, maybe there was only one that had Scion, and if I'm not
I
able to,
I had I had a Scion in 1B.
oh, did you? Well, I mean, okay, so it didn't end up being seeing action, of course, but
No, in 1B. It's
oh, 1B, did you?
yeah.
Oh,
Did Molly
okay.
have one? Let me see. Molly didn't have a Scion in his, but no, in mine, in my squad, it lasted for it went for 3, which is essentially, but that's because didn't have didn't have a good 5th.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all I had was Sidious, and all I have him as is G9. So
Okay.
if I decided to put him in with something in with an EP squad, yeah, he'd probably be a little bit juicier.
Right.
I just put him into my mall squad, but
So, what do you guys think then? More important to possibly get another Scion squad if I were to put mine? Because I was saying earlier, TK, like, you know, I held my EP squad. I didn't even use Scion on the squad, you know, because my arena team right now doesn't have him, and I know I can beat pretty much anything out there, so I saved it for offense. I used it to beat one of their, you know, best teams at the beginning. But that just seems like so little value compared to it possibly sitting there on defense and getting 5 wins or 10 wins or 18 wins, you know.
Oh, we need you guys in the heavy hitters on offense.
yeah, that's the thing is we can't win if we can't take out their guys.
I
And-
agree.
exactly.
I agree, but what was that one win worth that squad that could possibly do something like Cruz did? Imagine if they finally got through that squad, then they had, you know, they did Qui-Gon Jinns and they'd have enough to get through them, but there was another one of those squads in the next territory. How
Yeah,
valuable would that be compared to getting one win on offense?
Because one win is 1/27th of what we need to bust through their own areas.
I agree, but I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm just saying I could do that because I've still got other things. I could maybe keep something else that could get a
Yeah, I
win,
mean-
you know, that's not seeing action.
The goal is for us to have, essentially 35 nukes, 35 things that could take out some of the higher metas out there
Right.
amongst all of our people, and have that available for attack. So that way we can bust through one of the 2 areas in the front. Whatever's in behind it generally tends to be a little bit tamer. Which is why I was floating the thought in my head of possibly instead of putting Kenobi behind behind 1A, put it behind 1B, and move the First Order up.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
do
I don't know.
Are you saying that because you think that what we used in 2B is more survivable and would be better to protect ships?
What I'm saying is that people are gonna look at our wall of CLS and then our teams, and Zals are gonna be a lot easier to punch through.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll spend time getting through those alt teams only to hit the GK Zaris wall.
Right.
And then they're stuck between CLS and GK Barris, and behind those is
And
First Order and
they've already gone through one whole squad of pretty nasty stuff, and now they got to go through one of the two.
Right.
The
Well,
GK was still hidden behind there. It's the kind of thing like, and then we put the First Order stuff up on top because it's still fairly good from a defensive perspective.
so that's what my question was. You look at the wall of GK Zaris as better defensively than what we have in 2B now?
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, it's easily taken. The problem is GKs definitely can be taken out.
Yeah.
If you got your resistance teams, but you have to have resistance. Palp teams will take out GK Zaris's. There's several things that will take them out.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, do they have them now?
Yeah.
What did they use?
Well,
I don't
that's
know whether First Order does get the boost, the buff from the TW.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm basically looking at it like there's a couple very good First Order squads. The ones that have like Zated, Kylo Ren unmasked and whatnot, those are damn good squads. That's like some of the best actually out there, I think, right now. Possibly depending on where exactly you put them. But I look at the First Order in that as, some fodder that's going to have to take some teams to beat, and then the other stuff is what really made the difference. And I think that, like you said, this guild might have been pretty much like us, where they had a strategy that they had been using. It was setting up defensively, obviously. There was all kinds of CLSs and GK Zerises out there, and at least a few EP or whatever, Zols, whatever. And they probably experienced the same thing we did. Like, oh shit, now that we know we have to put 27 teams in here when we've only got 45, who knows how many members they actually had, but, feeling the difference of having to put that many more squads on defense, and might have the same as us thought, okay, we need to figure out a way to keep the front beefed and keep a lot more for offense. Probably a lot of guilds are going to figure that out immediately. This is assuming they don't tweak this at all and change it or anything. I think they should, because this is ridiculous. Why are guilds at 100 million GP having to how did they word it? Like, they're not able to display the depth of their roster. Like, we were displaying the depth of our roster just fine and usually not clearing boards, so why do we have to put this many more
Yeah.
squads on defense? It's insane, so they may fix it.
We cleared 2
Yeah.
boards. Out of the 12 times we battled, we cleared it twice.
Yeah, and that's
And I
only...
think
3
those
times. Well, 3 times because we had the tie.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was the change was not necessary for squads in our range.
No, and I think that there's at least a few people that are misunderstanding, thinking that when they say that they made this change for top guilds, that this happened to us because we were in the top 100 of guilds for like wins or whatever. And I don't think that's the case at all. It's tiered based on your galactic power ranking, like which tier you're in.
Right.
So... anyway, so if they don't change it, and this is just going to be the way it is, all guilds that are smart at all and set up like we do defensively, but keep, enough for offense or whatever, are going to figure out the right way to set up to have enough to continue to take things out like they always had. So it's going to bring it right back to like that territory in 2B would not have held quite the same if they knew they needed to keep a lot more than they did for offense. Same thing with Kenobi Zerises. They're going to be planning for, we know we're going to see walls of that. We're going to see walls of CLS. We're going to see walls of EP possibly or whatever. Now guilds are going to have a better idea of what they need to try to keep on offense, and probably we're going to see a lot more of guilds doing what we're talking about doing. Stack the front up as heavy as you can, put total garbage in the back and assume they're never going to get there. So we also have to plan for them, realizing that as well. And
yeah, the fact that we made it to the back, I don't understand how we did it. I really don't get You know,
Do
I
you
look at
mean
us and said,
do you mean
That's back
even
there.
are you
Yeah.
saying even seeing what they had and just being surprised that we were able to take it out with whatever you assumed we had left on offense, or what do you mean?
yeah, it was just I was surprised at the level of power we had to bust through. I mean, they didn't have amazing stuff behind their first wall. I think that's I mean, they had some good stuff, but I don't know what I was just looking at it going like, wow, we just destroyed it. And
Once we cleared that first one, I mean, the rest fell pretty quickly.
yeah, and I mean, we just happen to have four really good walls. It's hard to bust through the first four sections of our area.
Yeah. And would you guys agree that we have a much easier time going against completely, mix-matched, just random stuff in territories than other guilds have going against us putting all the same squads as much as we can?
Oh, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think it's just, it blows my mind that guilds are still just like putting total random mixes into.
Yeah, that's why I mean, if we have trouble filling up squads, if we're seeing that, we may want to at least try and make it so that way there's two types of squads in each in the areas.
Right.
And that way when we get to that point and we go, okay, it's time for us to drop stuff in, time for us to um drop further stuff in, we don't have a oh my god, Crew's got a Wampa team up on 1B. That would have made things painful. Did you see his 1B? I'm sorry, his 2B. He's got Thrawn, Wampa, Death
Yeah.
Trooper, Shore Trooper, and General Kenobi. And I'm going like, oh my god, they were doomed no matter which way they went.
Oh boy.
Oh god, Crew, holy cow. Uh yeah, so I mean, but then we have like we have Orphane came late to the party, dropping stuff in there.
Right.
And so, he's got a mishmash team in there because he's just trying to drop stuff in. And we have a Phoenix team from him. We have well, that was Dark Side, so we'll ignore that. I guess anybody with a yeah, I mean, actually, that our GK bet one pretty much had all but like four squads of good stuff out there. Not sure. We'll have to see again how much. And once we get Jan in there, because we were missing Jan, and that was a big that's a big loss.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, that was when I heard he wasn't in that, I was like, oh boy,
Yeah.
he's a 2.9 million GP. He
Yeah.
is. I think he's dead. I was like, oh no, this is not good. It's like, please don't be.
Ye of little faith.
I know, but I was just going, okay, this is gonna be painful. This is gonna be a rough because I knew he has that amazing first order squad,
Yep.
and that just we've seen people look at that squad and pretty much go, nope, that's a nope sandwich with lots of nope sauce all over it. And so, and that's the thing is that they get through that they get through that first squad with the Zals and the Rogue One, and I do like it. It's kind of like a bait. Like, here, it's a little bit easier. Come this way. There's nothing bad behind this at all. And it's like, and then we put the first order, and of course that's that what do they get? They get that whenever a first order ally suffers a debuff or attacks with advantage, they gain 5% critical damage and potency for the rest of the battle.
Oh.
I watched my first order squad survive a couple of battles. It's not the best in the world, but my first order TIE pilot is maxed to the gills.
Right.
So they probably are like, oh, well, I can help. I can defeat. And it's like, no, you don't understand how much damage he does.
Do you think
So.
that a decently geared Kylo Ren Unmasked that doesn't have any Zetas is better than having a Zetaed Phasma lead for defense?
I think it is because that's what I had. I
Okay.
literally I did not have the Zetaed Kylo. It survived 3 battles.
Okay.
It went to the 3rd battle. I had Phasma sitting off to the side because she's essentially my 4th most powerful. She's a G10. I mean a G9.
Yeah.
But as a support character, she could survive as a G9. She's not that necessary. But I look at it, it's like as long as your Kylo's strong. I think Seraphis has got a. I don't know if Seraphis had like a 60k first order out there with a level 53 Kylo. That's not going to be as good as a Phasma.
Yeah.
Hey
You,
guys,
you,
hate to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to say goodnight.
Cool. Hey,
all right,
thanks
yeah,
for dropping in, man.
Yeah, dude. I'll catch you
yeah.
guys later.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Talk to you soon. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you don't have him or if he's weak, Phasma is the way to go. But if you can get him up to G10 or G11, where he's going to be able to take some hits, he is. I think he's better off. The extra speed that they get, 25 speed even without the Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like people are going to underestimate that, and I think that's what we saw. Although, oh God, I can't. Someone must have really just nuked Muay Thai. I don't know how do you pronounce that. I want to
Mutai.
pronounce it like the Mutai. I want to pronounce it like the drink.
Nice.
It's a Muay Thai.
Yeah.
um, unfortunately, his just got taken out in one hit.
Yeah.
Even Luther, I was kind of surprised that uh, Luther's got everyone but a G12. Everyone but a G. He's got like a G. Was it? It's a G10. Um, Royal Guard, but everybody else is G12,
Yeah.
and he got taken out in one. So you're right. Darth Maul's nice sister team taken out in one.
Right.
Von Wolfenstein's. Look at that. That G12 First Order was taken out in one hit.
Yeah.
They had something to deal with that. So, but then you start getting to these 3s and 4s and I guess yeah.
So what's the best squad, do you think, under Kylo Ren Unmasked? To have, like, Vaughn doesn't have First Order officer in there.
I think that's what you need.
You do need him, you're saying?
I think because the First Order officer is what kickstarts the squad.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought.
I mean, he's not there for he's a support character. He's not there for damage. He's there to actually sit there and use his ability to give everyone else turn meter right off the bat. So not only did you have plus 30, plus 25 speed, even if you don't have the Zeta, he goes he does the first thing he does is does his marching orders. Um, that's pretty much I don't know if he might target Kylo Ren unmasked. If he does, that's someone stunned because someone's gonna get halted and they can't resist it.
Right.
And we all love an instant stun.
Yep.
That's what makes Raidhan so wonderful. Um, and that gives them tenacity up as well, which doesn't help versus all the dark side teams working out there. Uh, so yeah, I think he's really a necessary part of that team.
So do you think
Um,
lose Phasma then and keep, like, Stormtrooper?
yeah, I think the ultimate team would be probably Ren, Kylo Ren Unmasked, First Order Officer, First Order TIE Pilot. I don't have
Stormtrooper.
the First Order Stormtroopers from what I because to have the second taunter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, MC Mole had been talking about how the First Order Executioner is going to be insane for the raid.
Yeah.
So he might be. I'm not sure if he'd be good in the actual squad running around, but
Right.
then if you have Zeta or Kylo Ren, he's probably you definitely want him in there. I'm probably gonna try something different because I don't have him Zated, and eventually I'm gonna get the First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot up, and I'm gonna use him as my second attacker
Yeah.
because without the Zeta, he's just not very good.
Right.
The Special Forces guy, he does special damage all of his his main attacks is physical, but his actual other ones do special. Um, Flex defense down for 2 turns on each critically hit enemy, and everybody else gets speed up
Right.
because that's all they need is faster first order. So he's got a support role, and then he's got that and then he's got his other one, which is the what do you call it? He deals attack. He calls a target ally to assist and stuns the target. Like, so that makes 2 stuns right there. And I'm thinking that without Kylo, because I don't have without Kylo's or Zeta, I'm thinking that the first sci-fi. I want to see what his damage output is.
Yeah.
That's my real. That's kind of. I'm hoping he's going to be. Holy cow! That actually might also make him easier to level too, because he's a tactics-based character.
Hmm. Well, I'm wondering. I have old school Kylo Zated, and but on defense, doesn't he suck? Basically, I mean, if they take him out first, he sucks. It seems to me,
Yes.
from my experience, like he has to get whittled down to the point where it's only him left, and then he starts using the actual Zeta move that gets him protection back. Seems like while the whole squad is there, he just keeps getting the dots and getting his cooldowns reset. He just keeps using the AoE over and over again, and it's terrible.
Right, and that's why it's like the only reason you have him in there is for that. Oh, you didn't take him out first. Oh, boo-hoo on you.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with him. Same thing with the same thing with Thrawn on defense. Is Thrawn won't use his protection buff unless someone is like 75% at health.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if someone's lost all their protection, I've seen it in the pit raid. Like, could you please just give protection over to him instead of
Yeah.
attacking? Nope, there you go, attacking.
Well, it's weird because I'll tell you what, for just a bit when I first started running EP, I had Braun and Tarkin under EP Vader, and maybe Shore was on the team or something. But anyway, doing lots of unfocused auto, to see how it would work on defense and to get turn order set and see how things work at the beginning of the match and whatnot. It just, for whatever reason, would every single time. Like there wasn't some kind of chance, and it was for whatever reason, with all the extra turn meter gain and people are at 100%, at the same time or anything like that. He would do the turn meter swap with Tarkin, who had full turn meter, every single time. He would be going right before Tarkin, and I think it was that they hadn't gotten full turn meter, so he was actually just naturally getting full first. He would do that swap with Tarkin every single time.
I don't know.
I don't want you to
I don't
do
see-
that. I want you to fracture, and then Tarkin's gonna go anyway. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, it's weird. I don't know what the AI is doing with dealing with those kind of abilities.
No,
And for Kylo, it's definitely unless I'm hurt, I'm not going to use it.
right?
It's like no, you should be using it like every turn you
Yeah,
can,
and smashing everyone.
because you would be so much better on defense. And that's the saying is that if you're using these as a defensive character, Kylo Ren is not a very good defensive tune.
Right.
You're better off popping him. You're better off finding someone else who does, because he doesn't do a lot of damage on his AOE. He's just not that great.
Right.
And so you're looking at the first order. Okay, what do you want? What do you want there? And yeah, I mean, your other attackers are pretty much the first order special forces TIE pilot and the executioner. There's the only other 2 attackers on the entire team. Everybody is either support tank or support or tank.
Indeed.
And you want 2 attackers on that team. You're just not gonna. The first order TIE pilot can't kill everyone. Well,
Right.
he can, but
Could if
no
you
one's
wanted
gonna.
to.
He's my first target, and once I get all the taunts away, oh, he dies first. Yeah. So
All
I
right.
think, yeah.
I'm probably gonna need to run, but so just
Yep.
to make sure we've got this figured out,
Yep.
we want to basically set, and there's such limited real estate in the command banners. Do you think just put a very low requirement in those back two territories, and I'm gonna take care of probably one of the needed like better squads in each of them. I'll definitely put my Night Sisters in B. I don't know. I really think I want to put my EP squad on defense, just to make sure we don't all of a sudden be surprised by the fact that the next guild gets through that 2B a little easier and then could just wipe all the way through the rest of it, you know?
Hold on. Trying to think of what I want to say.
Are you just trying to
Okay.
decide if I should keep EP for offense or not?
Yeah. I mean, he's such. God, I don't know what you want to do with that.
Because generally, I mean, otherwise, you know, if we let them get past 2B, they're finishing the very bottom for sure. Maybe Phoenix, depending on what else they've done and what they've used, maybe Phoenix could stop them if, you know, they take out all of it, but the most powerful ones or something. But the very bottom row, they're gonna wipe all the way through it, probably. Which worries me.
Yeah.
Because if we experience the same kind of thing where all we're gonna do is be able to finish that bottom row, then it's gonna come down to like who less attacks and all that business.
Who did the best? Yeah, who did the best with their attacks?
Right. I mean, it's also possible that instead I could take whatever I'd put in as a GK Bears team and put it back there. Just see if somebody can fill in one of those, or especially considering it's very possible that they might not ever see that territory, you know.
Right. God. Yeah, I'm not.
And if, say, I were to consider saving or taking either an EP team or my Kenobi Bears team or something, do you think it's better to drop that into 3C instead of 4C to try to have something that stops them before they even get to the back one that has total garbage otherwise?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is there's the goal is to try and stop them from pushing forward.
Right.
Assuming we don't have a lopsided battle like many people were reporting.
That is very true, yeah. Hopefully they fix stuff, since they can't do it while a territory war is going. Hopefully they fix things for this next one that's now already pretty much, I guess once it's in the preview phase, it's considered open.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping that they do that. I'm trying to. I feel kind of. I'm a little scared of leaving those back territories completely junk.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm thinking, like, would you think that we could have still done what we did today if I didn't have my EP team to take out one of those squads that we took out?
I don't think it's worth it to take out something that could take out a major squad like that in the back. I think the back needs to be something that's it needs to be something powerful, but something that um I don't know. I'm just trying to think. It needs to be. I would love it to be something that's like a niche group, like something that people can't would need a specific set to take out. But and that's usually why I dropped the Ewoks in the back, because by the time they got back there, you know,
Right.
they'd be like, "Wait, we don't have anything to deal with this."
Well, okay, let's look at this real quick. I agree that having one of our Towson squads in 4B is a great idea because, like you said, to get there they have to go through our Phoenix, and it's very possible that people could end up using some or all of their, troopers there. Do you think that
Right.
that would mean that it wouldn't be as possibly useful to put, because Molly put his in 2B this time, and like you said, they got taken out in one attack. What if he puts his in 4C and I put mine in 4B, or vice versa?
I think put the two Talisman teams in the back because those are niche teams. You really need someone to be able to take those out.
Right.
Specific sets, and it's gonna be hard. And they keep resing, and they kill people fast.
Yeah.
People are not prepared for them. Um, but if people could see them, it's easily doable.
Mhm.
I mean, we move two people out. We have two people out in the back, and then in the threes back over there, like I would feel that that's probably where I drop like Ewoks would be back there,
Yeah.
someplace that's like the second to last line of defense, as it were.
Right.
So that way they are, because you don't want them out in front. You can't have them out in front.
No.
You want them to be hit when because everyone when the territory war starts, people are there. The hardcore people are either online. If they're up, they're online and they're looking at that territory war and they're going.
Yep.
So you want I kind of want to trap them. I want the Ewoks to be that someone who's not really experienced with them
Right.
decides to go up against and they fail.
Yeah.
And then and all I want to see is that one battle and the slightest bit of protection lost from Paplu.
Yeah.
And I will be like, that's it. You lost. Because we saw that one time when they were in the back.
Yep.
And they just kept on hitting against them and hitting against them, and we don't know how many battles they tried, but every time you just watch the protection kept on changing. No one was dying.
Yep.
I think the only thing that mattered is because I had R2 on that team, and that's the only reason why I ended up dying, because he doesn't get all the protection bonuses. But so now I have the Ewok Elder on there, so have fun with that, guys.
So what do you think for them? In the middle or in the bottom in 3?
I don't think.
I feel like the bottom is far more vulnerable. I think they could get through Zeta, Qui-Gon Jinn's way easier.
Yeah. I think that I think that they should go in the bottom, because I think the Phoenix are going to be the Phoenix will be a certain set of teams. They're going to run through them, and then they're I'm not sure if we even need a big team in the Phoenix section. We have plenty of them. We have we have several Zeta Phoenix teams that just you can't use the trick on new trick.
Nudakalombi.
Yeah, New Columbia. If anything, we should pretty much tell everyone, don't, if you have Sabine, put her in.
Yeah.
Because Sabine is going to keep New Columbia from really taking doing anything.
Yeah.
Those Phoenix teams really should be, if people have them, you should have Chopper, you should have Zeb, and you should have Sabine. And then the last person's really up to your taste. I put Kanan because I have the Zeta on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think his Zeta is far better, and I use Ezra in a Rebel team or a Jedi team because he's far more versatile for all that kind of stuff.
What do you think about, it hasn't mattered for a while, but I started putting Ezra on my Kenobi Zeris team. So Kenobi Zeris, I've been using 5s because under Kenobi he becomes a taunter,
Yep.
And then Ezra and Nihilus. This last one I actually removed Nihilus because A, I wanted to have him for my EP squad, and B, it just seems like that's, depending on what they bring against it, he's the only one debuffing on that team. His Zeta is the only way debuffs are going to be out there generally, So, do you think that that's a good idea? It doesn't seem like any, when people were going through our top 2 territories, like they had any kind of problem with it. I can't really tell because I don't ever use the squad on offense to have any idea how it would work.
I mean, you're trying to. I mean, I obviously Nihilus is in the GK squad because you're trying to keep him alive.
Right.
But I think I think that the problem is there's way too many ways to get past a single taunter, the single taunter of General Kenobi.
Right.
If you're going to play with Nihilus, you got to have two different taunters on the team.
Right.
And if you're not going to have the two taunters, I wouldn't rely on Nihilus.
Right.
Uh, CLS, Thrawn, Jedi, what do you call Jedi Training Ray. There are so many ways now that General Kenobi is countered.
Right.
Um, that yeah, I mean, I think that because we're looking at pure defensive here. There's not like Arena where we have to kind of think of offense and defense.
Right.
Pure defensive. Yeah, I would pulling Nihilus out and putting something else inside of there. But you're gonna have two taunt. You said you're gonna have two taunters. That's right, because you're gonna have
5s on the team.
5s on the team, and 5s will gain taunt every time. But we gets taunt when? Now you're gonna make me think about.
Yeah, I only slightly realized it at some point and thought, oh well, that's perfect. I ended up G12ing my 5s for ships or whatever, so I'll put him on that team. I can't think of what it is.
Oh, it's special abilities. So whenever he uses his special ability, he gains taunt.
Right.
So he gets that, and he gets that taunt for what, 2 turns probably?
And he's a counterattacker.
He gets it for 1 turn. So, and he's a counterattacker, so the taunt only lasts 1 turn. But still, it does come in. It does come in eventually. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is that enough? Just putting one Night Sister squad in each of those back territories?
I think it is. I mean, when was the last time our back territories were threatened?
It's been a long time.
And what's the worst? The worst case scenario is where we rethink it. We try something a little different, and if it doesn't go our way, we rethink it and go back. Because I think that trying to, if we give up the junk, we could put a little bit more junk in the back territories. That might give people a little bit more to attack with. It's not going to be anything to take out those front lines.
Right.
But I just can't imagine needing amazing stuff in the back.
No, I agree. And but that still leaves us in the same predicament as far as attack, where say they do what these people did, whether they split, CLSs in one and Nobizaris or whatever other balls and EPs. If they've got 2 stacked territories in the front, it seems like we'll still need to choose one route, right?
I think there's no question that we should be choosing a single route to go through.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to be protecting their ships, as Timekiller said. But now people are going to go, oh well, people are always going down to the bottom, so people are going to start fortifying their bottoms. So
right.
It's kind of difficult. Ships obviously opens up a brand new venue for us to attack, but we're never going to get through the back of their ship territory.
Right.
I don't want to be. I don't think that this is a pessimistic statement. I think it's just a statement of pure fact.
Yeah.
We have 27 plus 27. We now have to have 54 for the 45 people. We had to have 54. So that means 9 extra squads, people not having those ships.
Right.
And now we have to bust through 54 of their ships.
Yeah, and that's only if we have 40. What would it have been if we had 50 members? 30?
Yeah. So I don't know what was in there. I don't know what's in there, but we're not going to destroy their back ship squad.
No.
It's just not going to happen unless they put absolute junk into their ships.
Right.
And they kept all their ship power for attack.
Which you could see.
Which you could see. And I mean, I'll be putting down 2 squads now of ships, because I have 2 squads worth of really annoying ships.
Right.
But I'll have like 2 junkie squads, and for me, a junkie squad's still like 240,000. So.
Right.
But that's still not. We're not going to get through that, and I don't think it's worth the prize anymore. The prize was, we'll have the extra attacks. That gives us a whole bunch of extra attacks to go with. It gives us 27. it gives us just 2 sections.
Right.
And I think that if people are defending it really heavily, no, we're better off going on the bottom. If we bust through those 2 bottom ones, then we open up a whole bunch of character squads, a whole bunch of them.
Right.
And unless we're going against a really powerful force, which we're not, which is gonna be hard for us to win anyway. If we're like someone's 140 versus our 110, they
Right.
can fix it. They're not going to be able to defend those just as much as we can't defend those.
Right.
I mean, we're doing a good job. I think, like, I look at the squads over there, I say there's always something nasty everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, we really need to find out is like, do people want their droids and those other squads for attack? Will that make them happier to have those? And then we ask the other question is, do we want to, if we're going to put junk squads out there, do we want to put junk like single character squads? Like drop like literally, I don't know if we want to go that far. I have certain squads I could put out there that I can't stand using on attack,
Uh-huh.
force them to use something. But if we wanted to, if we were so confident that they weren't going to hit that back, single characters,
I hadn't even considered that, but you could.
because there's no penalty for putting a squad with a single character in it.
Yeah, you're right.
And so if you really want to junk those back ones out, yeah. Oh, look, there's Cup sitting out there, Mr. 6000, which would be awesome.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
So it's the kind of thing like, how much do we need those characters back there? And do people have characters that they can burn?
Right.
Because we're looking at what? We're looking at if 45, say it was the same number. We're looking at 26, 52 different squads we still need to field.
Right.
And yeah, I could see myself just going, here's 5. Here's 5 single people.
Yeah,
I
well, I
got
mean, I can tell you what. I mean, I could field probably 3 or 4 squads of total garbage. What amounts to total garbage that just are not enough and fit on a squad or whatever to take anything that people put out on defense out. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I've got little junky things. I have a 57,000 clone squad.
Mhm.
Yay, that'll go
Mhm.
back there.
Yeah.
I've got my Jawas with the 2 veterans
Yeah.
because you know I've got I've got Krennic sitting by himself in a squad because I keep all the people I'm not using, I filter into squads. So
Mm.
I keep a memory of, okay, who the people that I haven't actually assigned to anything yet.
Sure, yeah.
That's essentially that's what my attack squad, that attack squad. I essentially made sure everyone was part of a squad so I could see my junky ones. And pretty much I've got 2 full junky squads and that I can drop out there. My Night Sisters took out a squad this time because
Oh,
they had Night
nice.
Sisters. Well, I have a 58K Night Sister squad, and they had a 55K Night Sister squad. I'm like, all
This
right,
could
Night
work.
Sisters versus Night Sisters, let's do this. And they were able to take it out. Actually, they all survived too. So I was like going, okay,
Awesome.
people have those weak squads, and then now you're going to see more of those weak squads out there. But oh yeah, and then my Mace squad, Mace, Luminara, Ethkoth, the Jedi Counselor, and my Barris, because I don't have her Zetaed. It is the most it's 67K of worthless. I like I said, I tried a 52K squad, and they just died without taking anyone out. I was like, how pathetic.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this Jedi, all these Jedis, and they couldn't take out. But yeah, I mean, I think every other squad tends to do good. I even got my Geonosian soldiers on a squad with the 2 separatists with the 2 droids. The B2 battle droid actually sits on that one
Yeah.
for lack of any place else because my Geonosian soldiers, he's a crew member, and I have him buffed. He used to be part of my arena team, so he's a G11,
Ooh, nice.
and he hits hard and fast. So surprisingly, with the B2 droid clearing things away, I can usually kill 1 or 2 or 3 people off a squad. So for a 66K squad, it actually is pretty nice. But So, but we should have it. We should have enough squads that we could junk them out. But worst comes to worst, you know, I'll sit there and put my level 74 Krennic by himself.
So,
I don't-
do we feel that 2B has enough in it to remain confident that it's very possible they may never see these back territories?
um,
I mean, it worked this
let me see.
time, obviously very well.
It worked this time, but they did seem disorganized.
Yes.
They didn't have set squads everywhere. It looked like they were sorting by people rather than by um I think that I think we still need to make sure our 3C our 3C is strong.
Yeah. Oh,
I
well, I
think
mean, yeah, I would not change other than making it better or anything but Slice 4.
yeah, I think Slice 4 I think if it's going to help us get more attacks in, um I don't think that Slice 4 is I don't think that the people we have currently in Slice 4, I don't think they're going to pose much of a threat. They're gonna if they can get back to there, they're gonna have weaker squads and they will be able to rip through them. Now, will they be able to rip them without losing people? Eh, who knows? Um, some of the squads are definitely nice. Um, I don't know. What we really need to I think the most important thing is we come up and we have we want to make sure we have enough squads that we don't that we could bust through 1 to 2 sections like we did.
Right,
Because my guess is that when we get three back, we get 2 more sections opened up to us.
right.
And that's 50, 60 different choices. Just like with us, we'll be able to rip through. We'll get to that point. We've shown it. We can hit these. I'm terrible at ground battles. I'm absolutely horrible at them. So, um, I mean, I lose so much because I make so many stupid mistakes.
Well,
Um,
I mean, this is tough, and I love it that it's this, trying to think about, well, these squads that you never use, comps you've never even put together before this mode.
oh yeah, it was one of the, it was one of the best uh additions just because of the amount of thought and the amount of I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, I
As much
agree.
as they have as much as it can be buggy and they have mismatched over there, it really sits there and you're just going like, "Ooh, let me try this against this squad. Let me try this." It's you know, it's nice because you're an attack squad. You are going against a defensive squad.
Right,
This is this is a squad designed to survive your attack.
right,
But again, you get to choose who you go up against. So you're like, okay, who's got the weaknesses? Or okay, you know, oh, that's a whole team of rebels. Sweet, let me pull up my troopers because that's a whole team of rebels. You
right,
know,
right.
stuff like that. Stuff like that. And it's just it's really nice because in arena it's hard to get that synergy where you're going to go up against someone who's designed, who your team's designed for. Here, God, you get just oh, that team looks like one I can just easily eat up. So, and you just go for it. And I mean, and what's really telling is that here we are, UI and Mutai were all up in the 3 million range. But then you look at Kai down over at the other end of the spectrum, and he got 2 attacks in.
Yep.
He successfully took out 2 attacks. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even for someone who has a very limited uh set to choose from, he's getting to take ones out.
Yep.
So it's why I tend to use Kai as the barometer. It's like, why are you guys below him? It's like you have if you're below him, you have very little excuse.
And he even put a decent Kenobi squad. He doesn't have Zeta Barris, but Kenobi and Chase and Rex and Fulcrum Ahsoka
Yeah,
on
I
defense.
it just so that's why it's like he's now constantly my barometer
Yeah.
of hey, if you at least work towards that level, because if someone who's a very free to play player can be there,
Yeah.
and now we have a Ilum. Is that what it was?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And I told him the same thing. I was like, you could really just put one ground defense and one ship defense out.
Mm-hmm.
All we want you to do, okay? Just meet up with where you can and put something out there. The rest of it is up to you. But as long as you do that in territory war, no one's going to sit there and give you any beef
Right.
because you contributed. You did what you could. You got a limited supply. You got a limited, you know,
Roster.
catalog to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roster's small. We don't expect much.
Right.
We're I like the guild. It's not we're really kind of laid back in that. Just participate and be and help us out.
Absolutely.
That's why I look at Devin and I go, you didn't give anything. So I would say right now that if Devin does listen to this, which I doubt he will, Devin is now on the top chopping block because
Yeah,
you didn't
I mean,
participate at all in TB.
no,
TW.
I mean, and he's spotty in TB too. I mean, anybody that's like, seriously, you can't at least deploy in every phase.
Yeah, it's not much to ask. It takes half a minute to do so. So it's the kind of thing, and I'm actually probably let's see. Has he already joined up?
Um,
'Cause I'm gonna look to see if Devin's already in that one because I bet you he's already. Yep, he's already in.
oh, we're at 45 again exactly.
We're at 45 again. Jan's already in, so he I remember him saying it's like why so yes. So yep, I see RC1. I see both of our I think I don't see yeah, all of our new people are in.
Good.
That's good. So that means that we probably have a couple of others. I mean, we might actually hit 48 people coming in.
Yeah.
The only person I can guarantee you that Hot Pants won't join
Yeah, why do you say that?
because he's never joined.
He's never joined?
Hot Pants has never joined a territory.
What?
Never. Hot Pants is 2.2 million GP that has never seen, at least from my thing, from 2.5, 2.8, 2.19, 2.22, 3, and this one, he has never joined.
Huh, I didn't realize that.
He does the TBs.
Yeah.
He does TB. He helps out in TB. But he decides he does not want to be part of TW.
That's
And I
insane.
sit there and go,
Wha-
it's insane because of the rewards you get. But I don't know. Maybe he's too busy. Whatever it is, he at least if whatever his decision, I go okay.
Oh,
I'm
well,
not gonna
yeah,
sit there.
yeah. I mean,
We're not gonna. We don't fault you for not joining. We'd like you to because it gets better rewards for everyone. But it takes a lot. It could take a lot of commitment for some people.
right.
But yeah, Hot Pants has never joined.
Yeah,
Not
that's crazy. It's fine,
once.
like you said, but I did not realize that. Wow.
Yeah. Sphinx also is also iffy.
Yeah.
He has joined, but it's like every other one he can't. So, and that's just I think probably you're gonna chalk that up to life life things
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Indeed.
But yep, but that's that yeah. If you I had been looking at it now and yeah, Hot Pants is the I don't never join TB. He's not on Star Wars. He's not on GOH, the GG. He just does the TBs. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even it does the TBs. I didn't even look at what he's done on the raid, but he's probably down near the yeah. He's got 765 on the raid, but there's other people who are beneath him. So
Yeah.
you know, uh, yeah, I know some people like Orphane has a lot going on in his life.
Yeah.
He does what he can to keep the game going, to keep playing the game. And we have to understand that there's some people who are not fanatics like some people in this voice chat.
Who love it enough to do voice chats.
Voice chat's over it. Okay. I realized I was supposed to do the taxes tonight.
Yikes.
Oh, well, I got it. I got a month, right?
Indeed. Alrighty, well, I think I got a handle. I'll lay out at least roughly what we talked about, in Discord or whatever. set up the commands and whatnot, and let me know if you see anything that I don't set up correctly or.
Yeah, I hope people, accept it and like the fact that there's gonna be a little bit less strain on the ground troops.
Yeah.
So that'll help out.
I think it's worth giving it a try.
Yeah, we might as well. Like I said, I'm gonna throw the junkiest of junk back there. I got 3 squads I can jump back there that I don't care about.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Sounds good. Hey, thank you
all
so
right.
much, man.
Hey, yep. Talk to you later.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, have a
All
good one.
Night.
See you guys in the galaxy of heroes.